Top of the day, everybody. Top of the day.
Hey there, Tomas.
Greetings, young lady.
Hello.
Hello, who is that? Oh, Alira. Hey, Alira.
What's going on?
I'm just
Hey,
excited. I'm excited to see what he's got going on here tonight.
Agreed.
Thomas, did you see Robert's letters he wrote? Did he send
no,
them to?
no, I didn't see anything from you.
Oh, well, one of them he wrote for Jane for the Grange thing. It's really good.
Oh, um,
You'll have to ask him about it.
is he going to be on this call?
I doubt it. I think today's her birthday. I think they're out for dinner.
Oh, okay. I guess we have to make a report to him on what we find.
Yep.
He's sitting on his agents, man. Secret agent man. He's taking away your number and he's giving away your name. He's taking away your name and giving you a number. Once upon a time in the land of Hunza, Kawanda discovered people living past 100 in his
Auditions are
brilliance.
next week.
Oh, okay.
Why
Good
not?
evening, everybody.
Top of the day.
Good evening.
All
Well,
right. We're waiting for all of our
Bob's
class participants.
iPad.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I was just calling out Bob's iPad and I wanted to see if that was River Nighter.
It is.
Hey,
I just sent the link to Helen and
Hello.
Tim. Oh, Helen's there. Tim might be at church. No, it's starting now. No, I think she's thinking about Wednesday night. It was Thursday night.
Well, I never got a response back from Johnny to see whether or not he was going to be here tonight, would be willing to act as the judge in this case. So I may need to volunteer if anybody thinks they know how to do it right. We're going to try to keep this as much of an actual court proceeding as possible.
that lets me out. I'm not good enough yet.
Ellen, do you feel prepared to do the job of the prosecutor?
Not tonight, and I sent you an email. I've been worn out with the therapy. The children have got me worn, and I got to do
Okay.
it 2 more weeks.
Well, that's going to make this all that more difficult to do then.
I can do prosecuting.
How are you going to do the prosecuting, Jane? You can't even do the accused.
I can do the
And you are
prosecuting.
the accused.
I can do the prosecutor.
You think so?
Yeah, I got prepared
Okay.
as far as, start, how everything starts and everything like that. But I have the investigative reports and who's gonna be testifying. Let me see here. I mean, like the order of the trial, and sort of a semi-opening statement.
Kevin, have you shown up yet? I'll take that as a no.
So this is my first visit here, and I was very excited about you doing this. If this is something, and I apologize, because I really thought I was just going to kind of be a visitor and an observer. But if this is something you're continue to do, I'll work harder and come prepared to take a role.
Well, the class is always as participatory as possible.
Judge is the easiest part, pretty much.
Judge is the easiest part if you know the rules.
Well, you just gotta call the case, right? And give the court
No,
rule.
you got to rule on objections. You got to understand who's right and who's
Okay.
wrong and all that other stuff that goes with it.
Okay. So what about Brett? I guess everybody asked him.
Is Brett even? Brett's got the show tonight, doesn't he?
Oh, it's Thursday. Yep, that's right.
Do I have any volunteers to play the part of the judge? Somebody that thinks they know enough to understand an objection when it's made and how to rule on it.
Thomas, step up, Thomas. I know you're not like super confident, but you could do a job.
How about Thomas doing the prosecutor and I'll do the judge?
Yeah, there's a mismatch made in heaven.
Oh. No, it's not.
Jane, the whole purpose of us doing this is for me to show you how to do you in court.
I know.
Okay.
But we needed to get somebody to know how to do the other parts. I mean, I can half-ass do it.
Well, the problem is you half-ass do everything, and I'm trying to
I
fix
don't
that.
either.
I'm trying to fix that. So pay attention. If you're going to play the prosecutor, you better be prepared because I'm going to run you ragged if you don't.
Well, you're gonna run me ragged then, because I just have like the order of the trial, I had the opening statement, and I have question. I mean, I know kind of what to ask the witnesses, sort of. As far as getting the evidence into the record, I'm not sure I know how to do that properly.
Well, therein lies the whole problem with you playing any of these roles, Jane. That was the point.
Oh, well, I don't see nobody else volunteering.
Well, figure it out or fall on your face. That's the way this works. Do I have anybody willing to volunteer to sit in as the judge?
I mean, I'd be willing to volunteer to be the judge, but I don't know if I'd do it right because I've never seen a good judge.
Well, if you have a question about it, then ask. But otherwise, just do it like they do when the judge is quiet unless they're ruling on a motion or interjecting because one of the attorneys is doing something wrong and the judge knows it. Otherwise,
Okay.
you're there to observe and analyze.
I can do that.
Okay.
Teaching by fire, Alira, you got it.
If one of us makes an objection, you've got to understand the objection and the issue well enough to rule on it, either overruled or sustained.
Yep.
Now, Jane, if you're going to be the prosecutor, who's going to play the role of the witnesses that you were supposed to play?
I don't know. I mean,
Because you're the only person that was present when these witnesses were present. So you're the only person that knows what actually was said and done at the time.
okay, well then
Assuming you will tell it straight.
I'll play the witnesses then. I don't know how I'm going to play all the roles.
Well, I don't know how you're going to play any of them, but we'll see that when we get there.
Quit being so damn mean all the time.
Well, when you stop sending me emails like the one you did today, telling me you went and did that shit again, I'll think about it. Come on, guys. I need some volunteers here. I need a prosecutor. I've got a judge. Now I need a prosecutor that knows how to present this case. Helen, you were the only one preparing for that.
Let's see.
So I don't know what I'm going to do. If Kevin's in here, Kevin said he was willing to do it. I don't know if he's prepared for it. Kevin, are you here?
Kevin Michaels, you mean?
No, not Kevin Michaels.
I can put in the chat, Helen, if you will look at this, like kind of like the order of the way it's supposed to go.
Thomas, maybe you could get Kevin Michaels to come. I mean, Eddie knows him, right?
Yeah, I know him. I don't know if he'd be willing to sit on this for however long it might take.
Helen, do you want me to put this in? I gotta make a copy of it real quick. Do you want me to put in the chat for the prosecutor?
Put what in the chat?
It's like the order of the trial. You know, the judge calls the case to trial. The judge explains the court procedures. Probably we're not going to do that.
No, we're not going to do that. We're going to pick up where the court's called a session and all the preliminaries are done, and then the defendant and the attorney are going, and the prosecutor are going to announce ready for trial and go from there.
Okay. Then the prosecutor reads the complaint. Judge asks the defendant.
Well, hang on just a second. Let me see if I can find Kevin.
Hi. Ready?
Yeah, hey Kev, hang on just a sec.
I'm not ready yet.
All right, Tom, you just contacted Kevin. Send him the same link you used to get in this Zoom chat, please.
I just sent Kevin Michaels the link to get in the Zoom chat. He says he's coming on.
Okay. Yeah, I just called him, so.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, Kevin. See you on the call.
Kevin, my Kevin here in the class.
Yes.
You said you wanted to play the part of the prosecutor. Can you?
I don't know if I'm ready yet.
Well, it seems like you're either ready or you're not, because you're the only one left to do it. Helen begged out, so. Are you willing to do it or no?
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Okay.
I'm still reading the document. Opening statement.
Okay. Well, I'm glad y'all all prepared so hard for this tonight. Kevin Michaels, are you here yet?
Yes, he is. Unmute, Kevin.
Okay, can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. All right, Julie's going to be our judge, Kev. I need you to be the prosecutor. I'm going to put a copy of an ordinance in the chat, and you need to copy that out and look at it real quick. That's what we're arguing over.
Okay, let me open the chat here. Nothing yet.
No, it's coming through. I'm dropping it now. Okay, there's 2 PDFs in the chat.
It didn't pop yet. Oh, there it goes. City of Irvine?
Yep.
Irving.
Irving.
Irving, yeah, okay. Fuck, I gotta download this shit all the time. It drives me crazy. Why can't they just let you open it up?
Well, I'm gonna have it displayed on the screen, but I wanted to give you half a minute.
It's okay, I got it.
To
Don't
look
worry.
it over, so you'll know what you're prosecuting. What you're doing is you're attempting to prosecute me. I'm acting as the accused here. You're attempting to prosecute me under subsection E of that animal nuisance ordinance.
Okay.
Subsection E is what the criminal complaint is based on. It's the only section cited in the criminal complaint.
680E, right?
6-80E, yes. And there is a copy of the actual complaint. So you can see how it reads. And there are investigative reports here and all that other kind of shit. Basically, all you need to know about those is the animal control officers allege that they posted citations and took photos and all this shit of a food bowl for animals outdoors with something that resembled food in it. That's the extent of their evidence. Photos of a food bowl outdoors.
No,
Oh,
I
that's it?
had the video evidence I told you
Video
about.
of what? A cat on a car from your neighbor's house, right?
No, that was I sent you the transcription from what the video evidence was. I told you what was in there. I went and saw
So-
the video.
Tell me again.
Okay, what it is
You said the video showed only a couple of cats, right?
yeah, when I showed me walking out and putting 2 plates of food on the ground, and then there was 3 cats in the picture, but there was 2 cats only eating. And then I walk away out of the camera, but you can't see that I went into the house, but they say I did.
Either way, you
That's what-
walked away, but does the video ever show any more animals accumulating at the bowl?
No.
Okay. Kevin, that's your video evidence to prosecute me with.
Okay.
All right. Now,
Oh, so you're the defendant on this one?
I'm acting as a defendant. The lady that's talking, Jane, she's the real defendant, but she's
Yeah.
Oh,
going
well,
to be
why
playing.
don't we put her on instead? It's the
She's
defendant
going-
instead of
no,
you.
no,
No.
I'm trying to show her how to be the defendant.
Okay.
And she's going to be the witnesses because she's the only person that was there when the witnesses' information was taken and knows what actually happened. So she's going to be playing the part of the witnesses that
Okay.
you are going to call,
Yeah,
which is
and
going to be the next door neighbor, Joni Smith,
then the state witnesses.
and the 2 animal control officers that have been back and forth to her house. One's
Actually, no, the field supervisor and Grimaldo, not the first case. He's not going to be here. It's just the field service supervisor, and then
Who is going to be Delgado here?
Jane's going to play all the witnesses.
and also Hollinger, who's the supervisor.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be Joni Smith, also the psychopath neighbor.
The psychopath neighbor, huh? Wow.
And there's an affidavit that she swore to. It doesn't have much in it, but
Okay, so I call Natalie Grimaldo Delgado to the stand.
Wait, I got one more question before we start. Jane, in your motion for discovery, did you request a list of the state's witnesses?
yes, I did. I have it. I sent it to you.
They sent it to you in writing, right?
But they did. They gave it to me when I went up there to pick it up.
And what is in that list?
Miss Smith. And
Is it their names and addresses?
no, just names. It's Joni Smith, Laura Hollinger, field service supervisor, and Nathalia Delgado.
Natalie?
Well, it's actually, I think she goes by Grimalda, but
Okay, so
all right.
so
Anyway,
wait a minute.
what-
Let me make a comment here.
Mhm.
Whenever they give you a witness list, and they only give you names, that's improper because
well, they put animal control
be
officer.
quiet. Be quiet. They need to give you their addresses and contact information so that you can go and depose them or send them certain discovery
Correct.
before the trial or something, right? So
Right.
that's always required, because otherwise it's bias and prejudice in your case against them because they've already had a chance to do that.
Now, hold that thought. All right. Since the judge has now called the trial, Judge, I would like to move for sanctions against the prosecuting attorney in this case before we begin on any other business. The basis for the motion is not only did the prosecution fail to provide proper discovery in this case by refusing to provide the copies of the videos, misstating section 39.14D of the Code of Criminal Procedure, but they also failed to provide a proper witness list under 39.14B of the Code of Criminal Procedure.
You didn't give that to me here.
No, that's what I'm putting up on the screen now for everybody to see.
Okay.
This section, 39.14B, on a party's request made not later than the 30th day before the date that jury selection in the trial is scheduled to begin, or in a trial without a jury, the presentation of evidence is scheduled to begin. The party receiving the request shall disclose to the requesting party the name and address of each person the disclosing party may use at trial to present evidence under Rules 702, 703, and 705 Texas Rules of Evidence. Judge, on these grounds, I move that all of the witnesses to be produced by the state be excluded from testifying in this trial for failure to provide proper information to the defendant to properly access and depose these witnesses prior to trial.
Where's the judge?
And what does the prosecution have to say in their defense on this?
That would be you,
Counselor, do you have
Kevin.
any rebuttal? Yep.
Yeah, any rebuttal?
Excuse me, don't let that happen.
Does that mean there's no rebuttal from the prosecution?
Well, if we do that, then we're not gonna have a trial.
I would like to see have Jane post what she received so that I know what we're talking about here.
This is what she received. I will show you a copy of the email that she was given.
Oh, that was just for the video. As far as the witness list,
Well, Jane filed a motion for discovery, and in that we requested the witness list.
Okay, so let's see that here.
Well,
Yeah.
she told you the only thing in the witness list was just
Well, I know
a list of names.
she told me, but I'd
She
like to
can't
see
share
it
the screen.
myself.
She can't share the screen.
I'll put it in the chat if I can find
Yeah,
it.
give him a copy of the document that you got with the witnesses on it.
Okay, let me. I have to get it. It's in the email that I sent to you.
Kevin, whatever you're eating doesn't sound all that great.
He's a grazer, man. He grazes.
Eddie, we're gonna have to start over again because I gotta present the case
Right.
first. So let's do that.
Damn it. All I did
Well,
was
the
give
thing is, what I'm doing comes before the presentment of the case. I'm cutting it off before the prosecutor even gets a chance to do that because the prosecutor violated the due process of the defendant. So there's no trial to be had. The court's going to overrule it and move forward, of course, but I'm making it for the record because this is a court of record she's in.
Yeah, it is.
Well, usually in trials, prosecution goes first, not the defendant.
I understand that, but this was a special circumstance where the prosecution failed to comply with the rules of discovery and evidence and the rights of the defendant to that information.
Which they always do.
Yes, and therefore it was proper to address it before the opening of the trial.
And you're allowed to do that, right?
Yes, you are allowed to do that, or I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah. So, I'm afraid you're not going to get that copy because all I did was send him the copy. All I did was give him the names that was on the list, and I'm just telling you, it said it had a name, it had the badge number, and the person's title, no address on the animal control officer, and had the field service supervisor and her badge number.
Not even their business address, correct?
I had nothing like that, and then I had Joni Smith. That's it. That's all it had. I saw it today, but now I can't find it.
In any case, what's on the screen, this entire section is what they have to comply with in relation to that. Okay. Now, the second violation of the due process rights of the defendant judge is as follows.
Wait a minute. Let me address the first thing here, Your Honor. Here, go back up, scroll back up. Well, Your Honor, the defendant never requested, who was going to be presented with, the persons we're going to present as witnesses. So essentially, we've done our job, and we just sent out the names just, to give her a chance if she wanted to. We would have disclosed that other information if she had done it, but she didn't comply with Part B.
Objection, Judge. The prosecution's attempt to just basically snowball this into an idiotic experience. Subsection B is very clear in its language that this information must be presented in writing within the timeline outlined in subsection B. The request was made for the state's witness list to be presented to the defendant in the discovery. While other discovery was provided, the witness list was not, at least not in a complete form required by law.
Well, we don't have a separate list. We weren't provided with a separate list by the defendant for any witnesses, so we didn't.
Objection, Judge. It was in the motion for discovery. There's nothing in this statute that requires it be made on a separate motion or in a separate list.
What was the ruling? I don't remember the judge even ruling on a motion for discovery.
I would like to see that motion for discovery myself.
Okay.
Which you did file, didn't you, Jane?
Yes, I did. You have it, right?
Not with me, Jane, with the fucking court.
I did file it with the court. I'm saying you have it, right? Or you'll me to find it.
And you served a copy on the opposing counsel, right?
Yes, I did.
And they didn't challenge it to the judge, right?
Wait a minute. Then you need to show it right here now.
I'm getting ready to send it right now. Hang on. I gotta get it right quick. I gotta get down. Hope this is the right one.
I love mock trials.
No, 1 second.
I would love it myself.
Eddie, you're gonna have to drop.
Prepared.
You're gonna have to drop the screen share so she can do it.
No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Oh, okay.
Download it. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is. So I'm getting ready to put it in there right now. Okay, wait. Just take the request, second, third. Which one is it? Make sure it's the right one. I don't want Eddie seeing. God dang it. Where's the one that Eddie approved? It's going to be filed.
This is the reason why you organized the shit, Jane.
I know. I thought I had to organize it, but it looks like it's.
You think you got a lot of things. That's the problem. You don't actually do it.
I don't know that I don't do it until I see that it didn't get done.
Well, let me give you a word of advice, everybody on the call.
Okay.
Is the minute that a case is created by you or against you, you need to get a notebook or several notebooks and file every document and tab it and put an index on each of the different volumes of the notebooks that you have, so that you can go straight to it, because that will become your trial notebook.
This class has that information. The people that's
Yeah,
regular in here have it. They just aren't doing it.
He's told us.
Well, that's the problem with everybody, is that they don't do it. So now you're getting screwed. So if you don't show that copy, we're going to have to move on from that.
Okay, I'm trying to find. I'm trying to find it. Hang
Well,
on.
there you go, Jane. You're trying to find
I
it.
know. I know. You're right. You're right. It's.
Judge, can we just skip this? She doesn't seem to have it there, and since she doesn't have it, it doesn't exist. So can we
I
move
do
on?
have it.
Okay.
But let's
Y'all
go
see
ahead.
this?
Let the judge make the ruling on it.
Look in the video, people. Do y'all see this? This is a trial notebook. See the little tabs?
Yes.
See this? My neighbor, the real lawyer. This is a case that he hired me to work on with him, to go through and read and provide appellate court questions and everything else to go through this. But that's exactly the same way I showed you guys how to do this.
I don't see that, Eddie. Where you got that at?
Looking, is my video not on? Right here.
Oh, I closed it out. Let me reopen it here. Okay, go ahead. Put it up there again.
That's the book. See the tabs and all that in it?
There you go. That's how
Everything
you do
broken
it.
down.
Damn it. Yep. That's what you got to do, guys. Well, here, bring it back up again, Eddie. Let's show the front of it. Show the side of the binder. The side.
If you've got it in something where you need to put it and read the
If
font.
you have different volumes, you'd put volume 1 on the side there, and this similar information on the side there too.
And notice that the first page is a checklist of everything that's in here and where to find it.
Or an index.
Yeah, this is your itemized list of what this volume contains. Okay? That's the first thing that's in there. A cheat sheet. Here's what it is, and here's where to find it. And then there's the individual documents behind each tab.
There you go. Yep.
Okay?
That's how you do it.
Okay.
You damn lazy bunch of bums, you.
I know. Well, I'm still trying to find it.
Going to court this damn disorganized, you're going to get stomped on before you even get a chance to talk.
I know.
Judge, can we make a ruling on that? She doesn't appear to have it. So let's move on to the next thing here.
Give me like 2 more minutes.
Judge.
Yeah, sustained.
Okay, so we're moving on to the next question. So that part is out. So now we're going on to the next thing. Let's go back, and I want to start the case, if that's okay, Your Honor.
Objection, Judge. There's a second part to this that the state refused to do in relation to discovery. The state did not provide copies of the video evidence as requested in the discovery. The defense has had no opportunity to make copies of that and study them in depth. They used 39.14D to say they did not have to make the copies. However, the proper reading of 39.14D is in compliance with 39.14C, and it applies only if a portion of a document was not provided in the discovery because of redaction or some other need to not disclose it, which the court would then have to rule on if challenged. But the state never said they were going to make any redactions to the video evidence. They made no attempt to make redactions to the video evidence. They just refused to provide the defense with copies.
Well, Your Honor,
I was sent to her in an email, which I have.
Your Honor, essentially they have 20 days according to the statute to request it, and we don't even have a copy of that request, and you've already sustained my motion to continue the case and avoid this stupid motion that's unsupported and inadequate because they can't furnish the proper documents here. So can
And the
we get a
defense
ruling
still
on that
objects.
too?
Mm.
Say it
What did
again
you
now.
just? What did you say at the end there, Eddie? I couldn't hear you
To
over.
which the defense still objects.
Yes, we still don't have the motion for discovery.
The
to be able
cop
to
would have
reference.
the court would have a copy of it, even if the defendant was dumb enough not to file it where she could fucking find it on
Okay,
demand.
I'm gonna do the one that I did before you said redo it, but it does have the no, it doesn't have the witness list in there though. Shit.
Well, Your Honor, this
Wait a
is just
minute.
a dilatory tactic.
It's
I
Jane!
suggest
All
we
right,
move
everybody
on.
stop.
It's a hard
Jane,
copy.
you don't get to sit in court and say, wait a minute. Now get your goddamn shit organized. That's what the fuck you're supposed to have done. This is why you lose.
I thought you were gonna be the defendant. Why the fuck was I supposed to be getting it ready?
Jane, I don't have all of your paperwork.
Yes, you do. I sent it to you.
I do
Well,
not
Jane,
have a
this
copy of the
is-
motion for
hold on
discovery,
a second,
but either
Eddie.
way.
Jane, this is about you. It's not about
No,
Eddie.
yeah.
It is not
Really?
about me presenting this in the class, Jane. It's about you having the information in your hands when you fucking need it.
And to show it
All
at the
right.
appropriate time here.
This has nothing to do with what I do or don't have to display in this class. It has everything to do with what you have to take to court and be able to pull up when they want it.
I know.
I was let me give a little recap of what I've been doing lately. It's like and Tom knows about this too because I had him do a little work on this case for a guy that was suing Proton Sports down in Phoenix, Arizona, and we went to court, and the prosecutor had everything. I mean, the defendant had everything ready on his computer to bring up at the time. Okay, and essentially what we did is we compiled a trial notebook, and it was comprised of 8 volumes of consisting of everything from the first document filed. It had all the motions, all the rebuttals or oppositions. It had the rulings, the case docket. It also had the proofs of claim, which were essentially, we had a CPA make an audit of the promissory notes, the cash advances, the receipts, the credit card statements that the guy let Proton use from his own personal bank accounts and his business accounts. And we had all that ready to go in the bankruptcy court, and we showed that. And here's the interesting thing is the prosecution relied mostly on our proofs of claim, which had all the stuff in there. He didn't bring in anything of his own. Okay. So the thing is that if you don't have a document, the judge will essentially rule in your favor to move on, and you won't get that information in or that evidence in which is necessary to support your defense or your prosecution of an individual. Okay.
Or your complaint of a ROTS violation.
Right. And the thing is that in less than 2 months from the inception of the case, I'm able to collect over $750,000 off of Proton now, and that's how we do it. You have to be able to move really super quick. You have to be super organized. And otherwise, you're just going to lose your ass, and the judge is going to think you're just nothing but a waste of time. Okay, so anyway, just keep that in mind, guys.
Okay. Well,
Okay, so here's a narrative.
what do you mean?
A narrative of what?
labeled incident report. Irving,
Wait a minute,
Police
wait a minute.
Department.
Tom, why are you showing this?
I'm not showing this. This is what's up on my screen. It says a Irving Police Department narrative.
Yeah,
That's what's on the
this is
screen.
one of the police reports that we're going to be using to cross-examine the state's witness.
Okay, how come I don't have that?
Okay,
Because once again, you came on
Well, wait a
late.
minute. We're still on the motion here, so I'm asking the court that we move on from Mr. Tao's motion there, because they're not ready, and they don't seem to have any of the documents they're talking about that seem to support what he claims to be, right? So
The
Your
court
Honor,
has a
I'd
filed
suggest
copy.
we move on. Doesn't matter if the court has a copy. They need to the defense needs to present that right now.
I know I can't find it. I don't.
So Judge, I request that you sustain my motion to move on.
Sustained.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm ready for trial, Your Honor.
Can't believe it. I can't find it. It's not here. Where in the fucking hell it is though?
Your
Jane,
Honor,
mute your mic.
we're the prosecution is ready to start the trial.
The defense objects, but will proceed.
Noted. Let's proceed.
Okay, so let's see here.
This is the ordinance that they're going under, as y'all can all see on the screen.
Essentially, we're prosecuting Jane Gray Lynch for intentionally feeding an animal or made food available for an animal consumption in a manner that creates a danger to public health or safety, destroys public or private property, or causes 11 or more adult animals to congregate in one location at the same time in violation of 680E, City of Irvine Code and criminal and civil ordinances. Okay, now what we have here is Natalie Grimaldo Delgado observed that Jane Gray Lynch on
Objection. The
or about the
prosecution's testifying.
day
Actually,
of March. Actually, we're just going over the complaint here, Your Honor. So I suggest that we
The complaint is self-evident, Your Honor. I object to the prosecution testifying to its contents or characterizing it in a way favorable to the prosecution.
Well, I'm just reading from the complaint here
No.
that was signed by the
Objection, Judge. The prosecution was not simply reading. It was the prosecution was characterizing the information.
Where is this person to make this complaint valid?
She's here today, Your Honor.
The person who signed that complaint?
Actually, the judge
yes,
would never
yes.
say that. The judge would never say that.
no, the judge is not.
One of her clerks signed it. So no, the judge would never, ever say that.
Estella de la Cruz. Well, that's different than Natalie Grimaldo. Okay, so let's call up Natalie Grimaldo to the stand here.
Okay, I need to tell you something before we go there. She didn't observe anything. She didn't even come
That's
up.
what he's going to ask you questions about, Jane. Just play the fucking part.
Customer 57.
Well, for me personally, if I was a prosecutor and somebody else signed this other than the one that observed it, I wouldn't take the case up and prosecute you on it myself.
Well, you don't have a choice. In Texas, the person signing the complaint doesn't have to be the one that testifies to the facts in it. See, here in Texas, they have a reason to believe and do believe standard for making an allegation. You don't have to have firsthand knowledge to accuse someone of a crime. You only have to have firsthand knowledge to sign a sworn statement that what you're putting in that statement is factual and the truth, which a criminal complaint is not. This is the problem in Texas with prosecuting on a complaint alone. There's no investigation. There's nothing to back it up. There's just the accusation, and now you're guilty until proven innocent. That's a problem that we're working on here.
That is a big problem, you know, because it's just like, for me, I would attack, you know, the individual,
57.
you know, like
Whoever's not
Estella.
muted, mute.
What's that?
I said, whoever else is not muted besides me and Kevin, mute.
That was me. I'm doing laundry while I'm doing this
Okay.
call with y'all.
Oh, well, you should probably be doing something different here.
In any case, the city attorney's going to take the prosecution. They don't have a choice. If it's dumped in their lap, they're going to prosecute it if they think they can win it. And because they've been
Okay.
up against Jane before, they fucking think they can win it.
Okay, so I'm going to call Delgado to the stand here.
Okay. I'm here.
Officer Delgado, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, so on or about, let's see here, the 7th of,
I'm not sure where you're reading from.
on around April 7th, 2025,
I don't know where he's getting.
you
it.
said that, that you observed and
Okay.
investigated Jane Gray Lynch on about the 10th day of March. Is that true?
No. I mean, am I supposed to be doing this the way that I know that it? Okay.
Where are you getting the 7th of April from, Kevin?
Yeah.
From the court clerk's certification. Oh,
No,
no,
that-
on the second day. Excuse me, I was wrong. On the second day of April, 2025.
You're reading from the complaint. You need to be reading. from the-
Did you sign a complaint
No.
against Natalie Delgado?
No, Natalie Delgado is the person on the stand. She's the witness.
I'm an animal control officer. And you need to be reading the investigative report.
And the date is also March 10th on that for when she's saying that she did it.
Well, we're talking about when I'm asking her if she signed a complaint on the second day
No,
of
the
April.
court clerk is
The
the one
court
who
clerk.
signed the complaint.
They're not here.
The court clerk signed it based upon the citation the officer issued.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way they do it in Texas. The court
But
clerk legally.
Dela Cruz had to have gone and signed a complaint on the second day of April.
No. That's not the way it works here.
Who is Dela Cruz?
It's Delgado.
Dela Cruz is the one who says that she's the affiant
Oh.
here.
That's the court clerk. That's the way they do it here. You just have to get. You'll just
All
have
right,
to.
let me explain the fuck up that is Texas. Whenever someone gets a citation issued, the copy of the citation is turned into the court. The court clerks are the ones that create the complaints and sign them, not the prosecutors, not the actual officer. Rarely the actual officer is the affiant on the complaint. Because here in Texas, all you have to have is information that a criminal act has been committed, and you can file a complaint about it. You don't have to have firsthand knowledge. You don't have to witness it. You don't have to know anything other than you've got information that makes you believe a crime occurred. The problem is that a clerk of the court is an agent of the judge. And as an agent of the judge, you're being prosecuted by the same person that accused you.
No,
Or at least that person's presiding over your prosecution.
they're not agents of the judge.
Yes, they are, Jane. The judge can direct them in every fucking thing they do. They are agents of the judge.
Yes, they are.
Contractors.
They're not contractors, Jane. Where the fuck did you get that from?
Got that from them. I got that from one of my.
They're full of shit. They don't. Anyway, the point being, that's how it works in Texas. It's wrong in every way, shape, and form, but that's how it works. So you're not going to be talking to the person who signed the complaint. You're going to be talking to the officer who wrote the citation that the complaint is based upon.
That's such backwards fucking thinking.
Yes,
how I
it
attack
is.
stuff.
Like I said, guilty until proven innocent is how this is set up to work here.
Okay, so Natalie, Miss Delgado, can you tell me what you observed on the 10th day of March, 2025,
Well,
in relation to Jane Gray Lynch?
we're doing this backwards. The thing is, on that investigative report on page 2, what happened first was that Smith went to animal control campus and talked to the supervisor.
Jane, he can call the witnesses in any goddamn order he wants. Stop
really?
trying to correct it.
Okay, fine. I didn't observe anything on that day. I just observed Lynch trying to leave in her vehicle, and I stopped her out in the street and gave her a citation. That's what I observed.
Well, then why would you go down to the court clerk and have them fill out a complaint against you, against the Lyncher then?
That was because of the affidavit, the sworn affidavit that that somebody wrote on her, and
Sworn affidavit? Okay, can you produce that that affidavit?
the sworn affidavit based on, and we're writing a citation based on her sworn affidavit.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of that?
Yes, I do.
Can you post it, please?
Here it is. Right. Okay. Yeah, I have to scan it in right quick because I sent it to Eddie. He probably has it, but I'll scan it in. Sent it.
Investigative report. When did you send it to me, Jane?
Hang on, I gotta look.
And in what form did you send it?
I suggest that you really get this stuff together in a trial notebook so that you're not fumbling, because you're going to lose the case going the way
Yeah,
you're going.
I didn't know that I was gonna have
Okay.
to trace all
This
this.
is this is the affidavit
Okay, good.
And where is that now?
on the screen.
It's 2 pages.
I know it's 2 pages.
Okay.
On the screen.
Make it big enough to read, Kev.
What screen is that one? Let's see here.
It's not showing on my screen either.
Is it
Mine
not?
either.
Great. It's not sharing again. Dang. Okay, see it now?
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Not part of it, yeah.
Joni Smith. Who's Joni Smith?
Joni
Joni.
Smith. That's her neighbor, the other witness that will be called.
Okay.
Anyway, this
Why is the address
hold it
line
right
empty?
there. Hold it right there.
why is the address what?
Why is the Affian's address missing?
It's not.
It's not. It's right up
808
there.
Ventura Park.
No, that's my address.
Well, that's where the
Oh,
animal's
that's
being
your
harbored.
address. Yeah.
Yeah. I know my address. Her address is blank, as you see.
Well, there's nothing in the law that says the address has to be in the affidavit.
Fine.
Scroll back up.
By the way, she has no proof.
That's the top of it.
So other witnesses ascribing to the nature of is that 808 Ventura Park? That's the same as Jane's.
That is Jane's. Says the animal's being harbored at 808 Ventura Park, which is Jane's address.
The names and addresses, telephone numbers of other witnesses ascribing to the nature of the animals being harbored at 808. Okay. Being harbored, huh?
What's that? Remember I
All right,
told you.
Mr. Prosecutor, you done?
I'm trying to read the damn private. What's that? Private what?
Patio, but
Patio
Yeah, she can't spell worth shit either.
she can't.
on top of my car. Food
Is put out.
or on my private patio on top of my car. Food is put out,
And left out till gone.
left out till gone. Sometimes, okay. Okay, so
Then it has a backside. I don't know what it's somewhere right there.
I've provided animal control service with a rig video of Jane dropping food off and walking away.
do we have a copy of that video there?
No. I told
That's
you
the video they wouldn't give her.
that's the one that's all they have. That's what she told me. That's all they have. They have no evidence of private patio, top of car, nothing like that.
Okay, I have nothing more for this witness. I'm gonna call who
Joni
is this?
Smith. Joni
Lori
Smith.
Smith to the stand?
Joni Smith.
Joni Smith, okay.
Okay, wait a minute. All right. Okay, this is not going the way I thought it was going to go. Because the investigative report says what Grimaldi.
I'm calling Joni Smith to the stand now,
You're
Your
going
Honor.
to call the other one back, right? Okay.
Actually, before you can call the other one to the stand, you've got to say no more questions and I get my chance to cross. Then you can call your next witness.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah, I
turn
have
to
nothing
cross.
more to say to ask of this witness, but I do reserve the right to recall at a later date, and I now call Joni Smith to the stand.
Can't do that. He gets to cross.
Cross-examination's allowed first.
Now, Ms. Delgado, is this a form affidavit that your office provides to the affiant at the time?
I do believe so.
You do believe so.
I'm not the one that provided it to her.
Okay. And doesn't the statement that you signed or that the affiant signed here specifically read, I am familiar with the aforementioned animal and can state that this animal has exhibited Irving Code violations in the past by reason of the following facts? How does a cat display code violations?
I don't know. You might want to ask Laura Hollinger. She's the supervisor.
So Ms. Hollinger can explain how a cat exhibits code violations.
I'm assuming so.
Can she attest to when the cat read the code?
I don't know.
Can she attest to how familiar with the code the cat will be?
I don't know.
Then why are there no facts alleged in the handwritten portion of this statement about what the cat did wrong? If the cat was the one exhibiting the code violations, why isn't the cat the one being charged?
I don't know. It says her cats cats are on top of the car and on the private patio.
Well, then why isn't the cat here? You people are prosecuting me. But the affidavit says that you're accusing the cat.
It does, doesn't it? Well, it says Jane continues to feed cats.
So what? The statement right before that has nothing to do with Jane.
Okay, information animal and keep. Wow, interesting. I've never seen that before until now.
That's what happens when you don't fucking read the shit that's given to you.
No, I read her thing, but I didn't read what they were saying actually until now. So, okay. The cat's not here, and all I know is Jane keeps feeding the cats, and it creates a danger for public health and safety.
Oh, so your whole problem with Jade then, meaning moi, is that I feed cats. Is that why you wrote me a citation? Because I was feeding cats?
Yeah, you're not supposed to leave food unattended outside.
Really? Based on what?
Based on the ordinance.
Based on the ordinance.
Based on what the Laura Hollinger told us.
Well, are we talking about what Lauren Hollinger told you, or are we talking about what the ordinance says? Because those are two very different things.
The violation is for unattended feeding, illegal feeding of feral cats and wildlife. and it was supported by an affidavit.
I see nothing in this affidavit about illegal feeding of wildlife. I see you guys accusing a cat of sitting on someone's car and of Jane of putting out plates of food, but it doesn't say for who.
Well, we have a video showing Jane putting food.
Is
plates out.
this is 6-80 the ordinance you speak of?
As far as I know, but the supervisor would know better.
Well, you're the one that's been called as a witness.
I know. All right. So let me see.
Wait. Answer my questions, please. Now, you've been called as a witness to testify to what you did and what you observed, correct?
Yes.
And you wrote a citation based upon what you observed or based upon an affidavit?
Based on the affidavit.
How did you get the authority to issue a citation based on an affidavit?
Because the supervisor said to go there if she's not feeding according to the ordinances, then I'm supposed to write a citation.
What legal authority did your supervisor rely on to tell you to write a citation that you made no personal observation of the offense?
It's on the law. It's in the law.
Where is it in the law?
I don't know, but it's in there.
You don't know, but you say it's in there.
It's in there. That's what.
Objection, Judge. This witness obviously doesn't know what she's talking about.
You're not supposed to
It's
feed
in
cats.
there, but I don't know where it is.
You're not supposed to feed cats outside.
Really? Again, what authority are you citing that is the law?
It's under the animal nuisances.
The statute that we have right here, a copy of, that I've got right here, that I've given you a copy of right here.
Right.
That's what it says.
Right.
Can you please show me where this ordinance says don't feed animals?
Let's see.
Now, remember, the criminal complaint in this case, Ms. Delgado, specifically alleges subsection E.
Okay, so let's go there. It says it right there at the bottom. A person is deemed to have fed animal if he and she places any substance that meets the nutritional needs of the animal within reach of animals.
No, that's a definition of what fed means or what feeding means.
I said
that's not an offense. It's just telling you what feed or fed actually means.
Okay.
Where does the ordinance say that feeding a cat is illegal?
A person commits an offense if he, she, or he intentionally feeds an animal or makes food available for animal consumption in a manner that a person is deemed to have fed an animal if he or she places a substance that meets the nutritional needs of an animal.
You seem to be missing a few things here, following the word that.
Well, number one.
There are three specific things here, correct?
Yeah, and the one where we're pursuing is creates a danger to public health and safety.
I beg your pardon?
The one that we are saying that the reason is the offense is the reason why she can't do it is because it creates a danger to public health and safety.
Based on what evidence?
Based on the evidence that it attracts wild animals.
Did you see any wild animals?
No, I didn't see any.
Have you ever seen any wild animals?
No, but
do you have any photos of wild animals congregated around these alleged food bowls?
Not in the food, not in the evidence.
Not in evidence.
No.
In other words, you don't have any at all, do you?
The neighbor, Joni Smith, said that there was been no opossums around.
Really?
Yes.
Where's that in the affidavit?
It's not in there, but that she has said that to us.
She has said that to you. Well, objection. That's hearsay.
Okay.
Right now, we're talking about where the ordinance specifically says feeding animals in and of itself is a violation of the law.
Well, the reason why it creates a danger to public health and safety is because.
Objection. I'm not asking for your analysis of why something may or may not occur.
We have a
I'm asking you to point to the section of the ordinance that specifically says it is illegal to feed animals.
I don't see it in there, but we have.
That's right. You don't see it in there.
We have a.
That's exactly correct.
But
let me tell you what you do see.
What?
A person commits an offense. Well, there's a typo for you. If she or he intentionally feeds. In other words, intentionally feeds an animal for the purpose of doing one of these three things.
Oh, before you go much further,
Creates a danger, public safety, destroys public property. Okay, so let me redirect to this
Hang on,
witness,
hang on.
Your Honor.
Hang
How
on.
did you
I'm
get-
not done yet. You don't get to redirect yet.
but how did you get to pull this up anyway? Because they would never let me just pull this up and say, "Hey,
You're going to have a copy of it and take it up there and give it to the court, to the witness, and to the prosecutor, and say, do we all agree that this is a copy of your ordinance as it currently exists online?
okay,
Okay, now let me point out something to Jane while we're at this. Okay, at the top of 680, it states the owner of any animal in the city is responsible for the behavior and conduct of that animal at all times, including conduct that creates a public nuisance. So 680E, in my mind, would only be if you own an animal.
Correct.
And it creates, so that's really your way out of it. Is it, hey, where is it in the affidavit that says that I'm an owner of that animal?
right.
It's not there.
Yeah,
right?
that's one of the things I've told them, but let me get that in as we go here. I'm working my way up to this. Okay. So let's back up here a minute, Officer Delgado. Let's start from the top. First off, what evidence do you have that the cats that you have these photos and videos of, I own them?
Well, I believe that Miss Lynch has made some statements.
Objection. I did not ask the witness what they believe. I asked them what evidence they had that I was the owner. Please make the witness answer the question.
Let me see here.
Julie, that's your cue.
Well, I asked her if she was still feeding feral cats, and she said no, that she feeds her cats when they're hungry.
How? And her cats.
That's wait a minute. That's not the proper answer to that.
Well, I'm being the animal control officer, and they don't know anything. So
No, well, you got to get down to what it is. Is it okay? Go ahead.
yeah,
Okay. In any case.
But you got to be watching out for that. If you're the witness and you're saying that you're feeding your animal, right?
well, I know.
She's saying what she says Jane said.
Yeah,
right.
Okay.
Right. That's hearsay. But yeah,
No,
go ahead.
I'm Jane. I'm Jane. That's not hearsay. I'm the accused. When she said your animal, she was referring to me specifically.
yes.
Okay. In any case, back to what I was asking. Judge, are you going to tell her to answer the question?
Please answer the question.
What will you ask the question?
What evidence do you have that I am the owner of the cats?
Your statements in the past.
When did I ever state that the cats that you have video and photos of are my cats?
The day I issued you citation, you said you fed your cat.
Objection. Once again, did you have photos that you were showing me on that day asking if those were my cats?
No.
No. So you do not have any evidence that I ever said the cats that you have photos and videos of, ring camera video of, are my cats.
No, only just in the investigative report.
And who made that observation that they were my cats?
I just wrote it in the report, what she said.
Who said?
Miss Lynch.
You just wrote that she said she feeds her cats.
Yes.
But you just assumed that the cats that you saw somewhere else were hers?
Yes.
But you have no evidence to that effect.
No.
So in other words, you issued a citation without any investigation, making an allegation that you had no idea was true.
True. I did it based on the affidavit. I had to write a citation based on.
When did Miss Lynch sign? When did I ever sign an affidavit?
No, Miss Smith is the one that wrote the affidavit, and we.
Well, now which one came first, Miss Smith's affidavit, or you talking to me and saying something, and me saying something about my cats?
The affidavit came first. I came out and issued the citation based on the affidavit. We did it on her behalf.
And what evidence do you have that the cats being referred to in that affidavit are my cats?
I don't have evidence of that. But we don't care about her cats or not. We're saying that she's not supposed to be feeding cats outside, period.
Objection, Judge. That was not the question I was asked.
Okay.
Please stick to answering the questions you are asked.
Okay.
Sustained.
I don't have evidence of her cats, and I don't need it.
You don't need it. So you can just accuse somebody of something any way, anytime you want without any evidence whatsoever.
We have evidence that she puts food out for cats.
For cats. Whose cats?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's feral cats or whatever, whoever's cats. She's not supposed to be feeding cats outside, period.
Based on what?
Unintended feeding because it attracts wildlife.
Can you please show me where subsection E says anything about unattended feeding?
No, but I see where it says that she can put any food substance out that meets the nutritional needs of animals within reach. I'm just telling you this is how this is going to go because they're stupid.
Jane, pay attention to what I'm doing, not what you think they're going to fucking do.
Okay. All right. So no, I don't see it.
This specifically says a person commits an offense if she or he intentionally feeds an animal or makes food available in a manner that does one of these three things. What evidence do you have that the feeding created a danger to public health or safety?
When it attracts wild animals like coyotes.
Did you see any wild animals?
No.
Did you see any unhealthy wild animals?
No.
Does it say creates a danger because of wild animals?
No, it doesn't.
Then wild animals is something you people are just making up and sticking in here, aren't you?
Yes.
2, destroys public or private property. What property you're alleging was destroyed by the feeding of some animal?
We're not alleging that.
Causes more than 10 adult animals to congregate in one location at the same time. So even if they were wild animals, there would have to be 10 or more adult ones there at the same time. When did you observe that occurring?
I have not observed that.
Do you have any photos of that?
No.
Do you have any video of that?
No.
In other words, you have absolutely no evidence of any kind that would prove any of these parts of this ordinance were violated. Other than the fact you want to rewrite it to make the claim that it applies to feeding outdoors, no matter what, and wild animals could come to it, even though none ever have, and you have no evidence they ever have.
Right.
That's how you want this to play out.
Yes.
So you're just going to accuse people of violations without proof.
Well, I had to issue the citation because based on that sworn affidavit.
Based on what you had to issue a citation? Are you saying you guys don't have discretion in what you do?
No, I just did what the supervisor told me to do.
So the supervisor is the one that told you to write a citation. When was the supervisor present with you on the day you wrote it?
No.
Was the supervisor ever an eyewitness to any of the things alleged in the citation?
No.
So why is the supervisor telling you to write a citation for something they don't know to be true either?
Based on the affidavit that their neighbor wrote when she provided the video ring camera.
The neighbor's affidavit has nothing to do with the directives of your supervisor. Your supervisor did not see the commission of an offense. Where does she get the authority to order you to issue a citation for which there is no evidence of an offense?
Because it can't be leaving food out.
Where does the ordinance say you cannot feed the animals?
It doesn't say that.
No, it only says it on the sign at the fucking zoo.
Right.
Are you saying that there's a zoo at this address?
No, there's no zoo.
And there's no signs posted saying do not feed the animals, are there?
No, there's not.
And there's no evidence of wild animals or a danger to public health or safety that you've got to present to this court, is there?
No, we just have a problem
And
with
there's
it.
no evidence of destroyed public or private property, is there?
No,
And there is no evidence that 10 or more adult animals ever congregated in one place on the defendant's property, is there?
no.
Then what are we doing here?
I had to write a citation based on the affidavit
Right. You had to write a citation.
on the
And
order.
what's the name of your supervisor, please?
Laura Hollinger.
Okay. And is Laura Hollinger on the witness list, by the way?
Yes,
She is?
yes.
Okay, great.
Let me make a comment here under this E here section. There's essentially two parts to this, because 1 and 2 are joined, and 3 is the switch there, or causes, right?
No, these are all individual parts. When there's or at the end of the next to last one, they're all an or. It can be either or any of the 3 or any combination of the 3.
Well, it doesn't say creates a danger to public safety or destroys public property or causes more
No,
than 10
the
animals.
or here in the way the legislative drafting manual, that's what this or does. It infers that all of these are ors. If it had and, then what you're saying would be correct.
Where do you
Except it would conjoin only 2 and 3, not 1 and 2.
Well, 1 and 2, according to this regular English, would be 1 and 2 are conjoined, and then 3 is the switch.
Oh,
It's
wow.
disjointed.
True, but that's legalese for you.
Well,
But
no,
under the legislative drafting manual, this
Oh.
is an either or situation. It can be any of these or any combination of these.
okay. Well, I mean, that sounds like Texas is kind of backwards in that sense, but
Well-
yeah, go ahead.
I mean, so then the part would be animal consumption in a manner that, and then it lists 3 conditions, 3 precedents or whatever.
Well, here it
Yes.
is. Then what we got to do is then we got to go back up to the introductory statement, the owner of any animal, which would make this applicable here, this section E.
It
Right.
doesn't say
And that was,
owner.
remember, guys, that was the first thing I told you guys when we started going over this ordinance, is that under this ordinance, the first thing and foremost is you've got to be an owner. You've got to own the animal.
It says a person commits an offense if he or she intentionally feeds any animal that makes food available for
No,
animals.
no,
A
no, you gotta
person
read-
under this section,
you
Jane,
gotta go
is
up.
the owner.
The owner.
But that's not in the complaint though, that part.
No
It
shit,
doesn't matter if
Sherlock.
it's in the complaint.
Well, now you're figuring it out, you big dummy. Okay, so now let's go back to bring up the complaint again. Because we got to go over this stuff, right? It doesn't say in the complaint that she's an owner, or
No,
that somebody, or that Lynch said that she was an owner of the animal. She was feeding it, and it doesn't have anything about creating a public nuisance.
Well,
destroying public
here's
or
the thing.
private property. It doesn't have any of that in this complaint here.
No,
So-
what it did was it actually rewrote the ordinance into the complaint with no details, which on its face is absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
no facts and details to flesh out the language of the ordinance. They just
Right.
copied the fucking ordinance and pasted it in here.
Right.
Well,
right.
they-
Right.
If I may, real quick, or causes 11 or more animals, adult
Yeah,
animals.
they've got
to
that wrong too. It's 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
At the top left of the complaint, there is a code up there, 8191. That's the
I
code.
don't give a shit about that goddamn code, Jane. Forget the fucking code.
He was saying there's no public nuisance thing in there, and that's what it is. That's where the public nuisance comes in.
So let me ask the question. Did you file a motion to dismiss on this thing here?
Yes.
And what did that motion contain?
It's about
Hang on, I'll give you a copy of it.
pages.
The motion to quash.
No, a motion to quash is only the warrant. That doesn't do anything
No,
for the
in
complaint
Texas,
itself.
you have to set aside and quash the complaint.
We didn't set aside. We just
Yes, we did, Jane. Read the goddamn paperwork.
read it about 15,000 times.
Well, then you fucking missed it because it's in there.
I don't remember it
Says
saying.
respondent's motion challenging subject matter jurisdiction and quash complaint. That's
So they use the word quash down there instead of dismiss?
It depends on what you're doing.
Well, a complaint isn't necessarily a
Normally you would
summons.
quash it, and you can quash an information. Okay, here, and normally you would set aside a complaint. But here we ask for a dismissal with prejudice.
Okay. So let's see what you got here.
Here's the motion.
We didn't say set aside anywhere in here.
Okay, bring it back up. Was that the one or what?
Yeah, I'm giving you a copy of it, though, a word
Oh,
copy.
you're sending it over? Okay.
Yeah, it's in the chat.
Okay, let me see here.
what did we?
Okay.
Jane, what does that say right there in that title?
Hold on right there. It says Eddie Craig. How come it doesn't say Jane there?
Because this is the copy this is my template copy before I send it to Jane to make changes to the highlighted portions.
Okay.
Jane, do you see where it says motion and to quash / set aside complaint? And then down here in the language, it says should be quashed or set aside. And down here in the rest of it, it also says the same fucking thing.
You really got to get familiar with your documents, people.
So what do you mean it doesn't say that anywhere? Why does the copy you have not say that? Since that's what I gave you.
Unless you took it out of there.
Which I don't know why she would.
You never know what
Since
people
it's not
do.
a highlighted copy.
I've given people perfect copies of things where they only had to change the name like you've got here. And they took out other stuff because they said, well, it wasn't proper, and
Like they would fucking know.
And they said it was embarrassing. Well, who gives a fuck if it's embarrassing? You got to just let them have it right on the nose.
Anyway,
Okay, so
I tore this fucking ordinance apart, as well as all their evidence in this motion. There's no fucking way in hell this prosecutor should be this fucking stupid to pursue this in court. But if they're going to, it's a malicious prosecution suit when it's over.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going through 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here.
Yeah, I attacked the complaint, failure to allege an offense with the required factual specificity, failure to allege an authentic offense under the laws of this state because they don't make any specific allegation relative to any law of this state, and an ordinance is not a law of this state. Failure to provide proper, sufficient, and timely notice of the alleged offense to the accused. They're prosecuting you on a complaint with no specific allegation being made.
I'm going down
notice.
to section 2 now. That's the most important part here. The alleged criminal complaint charges no offense. It simply parrots the vague, ambiguous, and overbroad language of the ordinance virtually verbatim, while providing absolutely no specific facts and details related to the elements thereof, which is a mandatory part of the allegation. Okay, so that's proper. That's true. Okay.
Yeah. And then I got the case law in here that proves it. Now, the actual prosecutor in this case said she's trying to write a rebuttal to this motion. Good fucking luck. And Jane, you better get that to me the moment it's in your hands. And don't scan the fucking thing in unless it's editable. You still there, Jane?
Lay down.
I'm still here. They don't have subject matter jurisdiction. That's the most important part. But I didn't change one single word of the document that you sent me to file.
Really? So you
Except
didn't
for
change any of
except
the
for
yellow
I-
highlighted information.
Yeah, that's the only thing I changed.
Okay.
Everything else is exactly the way you
Then
said.
why are you saying it does not say set aside?
It doesn't have set aside because it wasn't in the original
Then
document.
you filed
And
the
why
wrong
are-
goddamn fucking document.
No, I
Why-
didn't.
Why are you saying that you didn't change anything? I mean, you're really loose with what you're doing here.
No, what I'm saying is he had yellow highlights of what I was supposed to put my name in.
Jane,
And then,
Jane,
yeah.
this is the document I sent you. Do you see right there where it says set aside?
Hang on, I'll see that, but hang on.
I have not touched this since the day I emailed it to you.
Hang on.
Jane, you gotta watch your words too, that you're not going all over the place, because you said you didn't change a thing in this document here.
Except for I put my name in it where his name was.
Then you made changes to the document, didn't you, Jane?
Well, that's what
The
I'm.
proper way to say it would have been, I didn't change anything except for the stuff that was supposed to be changed, highlighted in yellow.
Okay.
Right? Get very articulate about what you're doing, not just
And
generalize stuff.
specific.
Precise.
When
Succinct.
you say a bunch of shit in generalities, Jane, you fuck up everything for everybody. You know what you're talking about, but the rest of us can only go by what you said, not what you're fucking thinking.
Like when you said
So
that
as
you
John
didn't change
Wayne
anything.
said, I am only responsible for what I say, not what you understand. Well, in your case, you switched that role. We can't be responsible for what we understand because of what you fucking say. It's the reason we understand very little.
And we're gonna take what you say as being true. If you didn't change a thing on there, we're just gonna go, okay, she didn't change anything. Okay, so she fucked up somewhere, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember how I put funny names for public officials in my documents, Jane? Like Officer I'm a Dick
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and Judge Juanita Cunt?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You file that shit, you're going to fucking jail. You understand that, right?
I understand that.
So when you say you don't change shit, I'm going to think you did exactly what the person who went to jail because they did exactly that same shit.
Well, hey, Eddie, I've done that with judges, and none of the people that I wrote for ever went to jail. It just depends on your swagger, you know, and you know how you can defend that position, you know. Anyway.
In any case, don't say something that isn't true 100%. I
If you don't
changed
have
only what was in yellow.
if you don't have an answer, don't say anything. Just keep your mouth shut.
Okay, I have a document that you sent me right here that still has the yellow and it does not say set aside.
Jane, I sent you multiple copies over multiple times as I made
is-
changes. The last
The
one I
last-
sent you is this one.
The last one you sent me was dated on April the 21st. And it has still
Dated where, Jane?
on the document, the name of the document, April the 21st, and it has your name on it still.
Jane, does the name of the document have a 12 on the end of it?
It has version 001.00.001.odt. This is the one,
OD.
yeah. Oh, the
Yeah,
ODT.
that's the old one, Jane.
You got the
The
Libra
one I
office.
sent you is 12.doc until you opened it in LibreOffice and made it an ODT, but still.
Oh, you sent me on the 21st, and I filed it on the 22nd. This is the latest one I got from
I'm
you.
gonna step away for a second, guys. Hang
Yeah.
on.
So you're telling me I got the wrong one filed?
Yeah, Jane, that's exactly what I'm telling you.
Well, I only filed the very last one that you sent me.
No, you didn't, Jane, because this is the
Oh,
very last
no.
one I sent you.
Remember, I filed it, and then you said, "Have you already filed it yet?" And I said, "Yeah, but I can amend it." But you never did say to amend it. Because you told me to file it as soon as possible. So I filed it, the one that you sent me on the 21st, I changed that one. I filed it on the 22nd in the morning. And then
Jane,
it was the day or
Jane,
two after you said,
Jane,
what?
Jane. I'm going to put a copy of this in the goddamn chat.
Okay. And you told me that you only made a couple little
Well,
changes.
it's in the chat.
iPhone.
Download the copy of this that's in the chat, Jane. And in the title at the very top, where it says quash / set aside complaint, in parentheses, right to the at the word end of the word complaint, space, parenthesis, amended in all capital letters, close parentheses. Got it?
Yeah.
And go file the goddamn thing.
So, okay. Okay, I will, but this is, God damn it.
If you can follow instructions.
Okay.
God help the doctor that writes you a fucking prescription with instructions on the goddamn label.
No, I told you that I filed it and you said, oh, you asked me to amend it after I filed. And then I said, you said, here's the one I want you to file after I had already filed it. And then I asked you, should I amend it? And you never did respond.
That's because you filed the one you wrote, not the one that
I didn't file the one I wrote.
You told me you had.
No, I'll show you the one I filed.
I don't want to
Exactly
see it.
like the one
I
you
don't want to see it. File this one with the word amended after complaint. Do you got it?
Yeah. It's exactly like the way that you have this one right here, except for it doesn't say set aside and it doesn't say amended. That's the only thing different. But I will do it. It's in the chat, you're telling me?
Yeah, it's in the chat because I gave a copy of it to Kevin, or I gave a copy of it to everybody that was in the chat. So, guys, I apologize. This was supposed to go a lot smoother than this. This was not supposed to be a goddamn debate and discussion.
Well, obviously, she's highly unprepared and is very lost about what to do.
Yeah, it's all my fault. Yeah, that's right. I know.
It is. It's an individual responsibility thing that we have to do here, you know? And it's not up to us. I mean, we can give you a perfect paper, but if you don't follow instructions, there's not a goddamn thing we can do to help you.
I did follow instructions. I did. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. So you put it in the chat. I'm trying to find it right now.
Eddie, one thing that I would say about your motion.
Yes.
I would put the opening statement of 680 in there and refer all the rest of the subsections back to it, and go that way with it. That's how I would have put that first paragraph in there under 680.
Well, you don't, the way I write an introduction, you don't make any argument in the introduction. And I did put a live link in there if the judge has got a live copy of it, which when they scan it in down there, they can usually do. We'll see, but either way.
Well, I don't see where you mentioned the first paragraph though in here at all.
What do you mean?
Okay, so we're going back to
Section 2 is where the ordinance is actually put.
I'm looking at, let's see, what is it?
The bottom of page 6.
The
bottom
like
of page 6 is where 680 is located.
The owner of, right? That's what we're talking about, that first paragraph under 680?
Oh, no, I can put that in there.
I would put that right then in there, right above 680E, right there.
Yeah.
And start it out, give an introduction about what 680, the first paragraph says, and then relate all the rest of it back to it, right? So this complaint doesn't even have anything that refers to any that a person must be an owner of an animal, right? For this ordinance to come into effect, right? And They must prove it, but they didn't. I mean, that's the only thing that I see that you missed here.
Well,
I'd put it right down there under See where you got that number 1? I would have 680, the first paragraph be that one right there, 680E instead
Yeah,
of 680E.
that's what I'll do is I'll put the 680 right there.
Oh, so you're gonna send another revision then? I need to
Yes,
wait.
I am. You couldn't
Okay.
file it tonight anyway.
All
Yeah.
right.
So see, this is why we collaborate with stuff, just because sometimes we miss the point, you know. But
So tomorrow, Jane, do not file this before I get you this updated copy tomorrow. You got it?
Okay,
That is, do not file this until I get you an updated copy tomorrow.
I just
Acknowledge
deleted-
receipt of that information.
I deleted.
so Eddie, this is how I would do it. Above number 1.
No, I'm making it number 1. What you're talking
No,
about,
no,
I'm gonna
no,
put,
no. Well, hold on now. You got to preface it with something here. Above number 1, this is what I would do. This push that number 1 down. Yeah. I would say this. It appears that the city ordinance 680 only applies to an owner of an animal, right? For 680 to take effect and be a chargeable thing. And then I would put viz 680. The owner of any animal in the city is responsible for the behavior if it commits, if it creates a conduct creates a nuisance. Put that there, and what specifically requires it for the ordinance to be chargeable, that the person must be an actual owner, right? Be charged to be an owner of an animal, period. And I just put a period there, right there, and take the question in question out, because that doesn't relate. In my mind, it doesn't relate. That's just put in an extra word in there too that doesn't make.
Well,
and then
let's do
then I
this.
put, and then to comma to it, comma to it. Now down below that, down below to it, put in the first paragraph right above 1.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me toggle over here and get that copied out real quick.
You should probably go to
Text.
what are you using, Libre or something?
No, I'm using Word.
Oh, don't you have a copy of WordPerfect or something?
I'm using Microsoft Word. There's no Word Perfect anymore.
Yeah, there is.
Okay.
They're still selling it.
Yeah, but it's it's never been updated.
They've got 21 versions of it now since 6 or since 11.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. We will make that.
Then quote that. Make it a quote.
Now I put it in a different font so it's written like a statute. Let's see. There we go. All right.
Then I would put for 680E above 680E, like make a new paragraph under 1. But put it on the left margin, not like you got it here.
Yeah.
Put it all the way like you got like the actual owner above there. Go scroll up a little bit.
Hang on.
Scroll up. Okay, see how you got that 680 breakdown analysis? It would appear that, right?
Yeah.
Repeat, put another paragraph right below 680. Okay, let's go.
Well,
with
you can't if you've got the 2 wit at the end of it with the colon.
Oh, yeah, you can. Yeah, because you already made your statement. Number 1. Okay. we're going to make statements through here. Let's go down and say here that
All right,
the-
just tell,
the-
tell me what you think, what other language you
I'm-
think it needs, and I will
I'm
go
going to
from
say
there.
this is that I would put there that the alleged offense charged 680E the alleged offense charged in the complaint identifies 680E, right? 680E.
Yeah.
Put 680E just right there. You don't need a copy, just whatever. Okay. Identifies 680E, and I put a period right there. However, 680E is inapplicable because
No owner's been identified.
because the complaint does not identify, it does not state that the defendant is an owner of the animal, right? And then you can go down there, and then that there's no evidence, that there's no allegations pertaining to creating a public nuisance, destruction of public or private property, etc., right? I wouldn't go there. I would say that the complaint must plead it, not that it's not in photographic or video evidence, because that's secondary, right? It must be pled. So since it hasn't been pled, it's wholly inadequate and fatally defective. That's as short and sweet as I would put it right there.
Let's see. However, the complaint in no way alleges that respondent is the owner of the animals that are allegedly being fed. Thus, it fails to allege all of the necessary
Elements.
elements of the offense.
Element is
Necessary elements of the alleged offense.
okay, the complaint is devoid. Put it this way, the complaint is devoid.
Is devoid.
Is devoid. Is devoid of several facts. Number one.
Well, I've already addressed that in the fact that it's all the facts not alleged in it are addressed before this.
The complaint is devoid of facts identifying what public or private property was destroyed.
That's all identified elsewhere.
I know, but let's just make it short and sweet. You could probably reduce this to 3 pages if you wanted to.
I don't want to. I want to make this where they can never ever fucking use it again, because I'm also challenging the ordinance as vague, ambiguous, and overbroad.
Right. Okay.
So
Go ahead.
I broke it down in individual parts for that reason.
Okay. Well, let's just get these things here spelled out, and then you can rearrange it as you wish. I would put down there that there's been no showing, no pleading that shows public property has been, public or private property is destroyed, or that there was a public nuisance, right? And then you can use all the rest of it.
That's all right here.
And then just use all the rest of it as a recap. That's what I would do, since this is the way you have it, right?
Well, I did that. That introduction up there has all the stuff you're talking about now. That's what these things are right up here that are enumerated at the top. That's what these are. And then this down here.
those are very vague in themselves up at the top, but now we're getting very specific down here under 2.
Correct. And that's what each one of these sections is. You've got 680 general with the statement you're talking about, the very first paragraph. And then you've got each individual code section below that, E, E1, E2, E3, and they're broken down in their own sections right here.
Right, I got that.
Okay.
So anyway, I think, since you put the other stuff in there, that's cool. So a little bit more work to do just to run it in,
Yeah, that'd be very first thing.
Identifies is that the person being charged must be a actual owner.
Yeah. It would appear that the very first thing that code section 680 specifically requires is that the person being charged be the actual owner of the alleged animals, to wit.
Right. Then down below this, that these facts have not been pled, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the alleged offense charged in the complaint identifies code section 680 as the section being violated. However, the complaint in no way alleges that respondent is the owner of the animals that are allegedly being fed. Thus, it fails to allege all the necessary elements of the alleged offense.
Therefore, the complaint is inadequate and fatally defective. And that's where I put it. And then you can go to 680E and all the rest of that you got. It is wholly inadequate and fatally defective.
On its face.
This element alone and should be set aside.
There you go.
It's legally deficient.
Anyway, it's legally insufficient. Legally insufficient.
No, legally
not deficient.
Deficient.
No, insufficient. Not
Why?
deficient. Legally insufficient. There you go.
No, insufficient is the fact that it doesn't supply all of the specific details. The fact that it left out an element entirely is a deficit.
Well, then
Yep.
put in slash deficit. Deficient. Put slash deficient. No, right? No, put a slash after insufficient. There you go.
They're different things. I don't know why we would
Well,
do it this way, but okay.
well, one leads right into the other. So if it's insufficient, it's deficient, right? Therefore, fatally defective. So there you go. It's pretty easy in my mind. I like to run words together like that sometimes.
Well, I do too sometimes, depending on what I'm doing.
Fatally
Yeah.
defective on its face.
We already say defective on
Yep.
this element. Okay, alone.
Yeah. Oh, never mind.
Well, wait a minute. Not on this element. On this, as to this ordinance, right? As
Yeah,
to
well,
this ordinance.
that's again, there's a lot more of it down here.
Is
Anyway,
680, this 680 is this one ordinance, right?
well, it's a ordinance of one ordinance of multiple parts. Yes.
So let's go back. Let's go back to where you were.
Okay.
Go down, scroll down. Okay, so the complaint is fatally defective as to this ordinance, right? And should be set aside as legally insufficient, deficient as to all the elements required therein, right? That's how I put it. On this, what do we call it? This ordinance, right? Defective as it pertains to this ordinance. Because 680 is a separate ordinance, right? It's not an element of the ordinance, it's an ordinance.
The complaint is fatally defective on this element of the ordinance alone and should be set aside as legally insufficient or deficient.
Well, the ordinance isn't an element of another part of an ordinance, is it? Or is this 680 its own ordinance?
680 is its own ordinance section.
Okay, so then let's put it this way. The complaint is fatally defective as to this ordinance and should be legally set aside as legally insufficient as because the necessary elements have not been pled, right? That's how I put it, really.
Okay, again, that's here, and that's also I've done that.
I
in
know
each
that's
one of the
there, but
individual pieces.
I know, but it's really strung out, you know? That's all I'm
No,
saying.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean by strung out.
Well, I would say you've exemplified it a lot, but you've missed certain points, so just put it right in the head. you
Okay,
know, 'cause-
well, we'll get, you and I can discuss that at a later point. What I'd like to
Okay.
get back to is why we're here in this class for this particular proceeding.
Okay, so
The
this
point
why
is-
don't you just yellow that whole thing there, and then we'll get back to this, later.
But I like the way the motion is exactly the way it is already, but still, except for with the changes you are making.
Well, it needs this section here that we just put in there, so we'll get back to this. So
Yeah,
save that as
Right.
something, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so now I think your motion is a little better now. At least it's more self-explanatory.
So
But-
just to get a little bit of clarity on this case, so this has obviously not this exact copy, but the motion to set aside has been filed, just not ruled upon yet.
No, it's not rolled upon yet, and it's been filed, but not the latest version that he sent me after I had already filed it. But it's close to the one that he's working on now.
Well, you shouldn't just file things just because you get something on first draft. You should wait until it's already
No,
gone
I
through.
filed it because he told me to file it ASAP, and I filed it.
Because
So-
she told me she had already filed her own.
No, I
Oh.
didn't file that one. I sent you the one that I was gonna file, and you said absolutely, under no circumstances, don't file that.
Yeah, and then in your email that you sent back, you said I already did.
That was the response to this last one, the revision that you sent me.
Again, Jane. Again, Jane, not being clear in what you're responding to me with leaves me with the impression of what you've done already.
It was the last revision that you sent me. That's when I replied to it and said I have already filed it. I never filed my original motion.
Jane, how could you do that when it was your original motion that I first sent you back to telling you not to file it?
And I didn't file anything with that. I'm saying that the last revision that you sent me before the word set aside was added into it, that is the one I filed, version 001, not 012.
Now, people, I want to give y'all a bit of stock trading advice. As long as Jane is in this class, y'all need to invest in the ibuprofen industry.
I already took a Cetera before I
Whatever.
started this class.
Whatever. Yeah.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, Eddie, I got a better.
It's all my
I got
fault.
a-
All
I
my
got a
fault.
better thing. Instead of investing in ibuprofen,
I was kidding. I was just being
just
sarcastic.
invest in a in a nice thing called a hammer, so that every time you fuck up, you can smash one of your fingers, and then you can really cry about it, right?
Okay.
Well, in any
Can I
case,
just say a
let's-
word of advice for Miss Jane?
Sure.
When you're going into the courtroom, and if you ever get on the point where you're having to answer things,
I've
don't
been
just
there.
immediately answer the first thing that comes to your head. Stop and think about it for at least 10 seconds to make sure you have your verbiage correct before
Right.
you speak.
Exactly.
Let me ask you
I've
guys
been
from the
trial
class.
50 times.
Let me ask this of my regular class. What have I told you guys about when someone is speaking about anything? What have I told y'all to do from day one?
Listen.
Listen to what you hear. Don't just hear it. Listen to what you hear. Listening means analyzing. Analyze it before you open your mouth in response to it. If you just knee-jerk reaction out of something, you're going to say or do something you absolutely shouldn't.
That's right.
You always listen to what you hear, and you always think about it before you respond to it. Now, said again, let's see if we can get this back on the track it's supposed to be. Let's take this from the very top one more time with the prosecutor calling the witness and the witness being properly questioned and properly responding, and we will go from there. Now listen to everything the witness says, people, because the witness is going to give you what you need to conduct your cross.
Can I ask one thing?
Remember, you can only build on everything about direct and cross-examination requires a foundation. It's like building something with a set of blocks. You can't build something 3 blocks off the ground unless there's 2 other blocks below it. You got it?
Yes.
Everything has to touch together and connect. That is what lack of foundation will mean when they object to it. You're asking a question for which there was no support to get you there. You can't just ask shit out of the blue, not even as the prosecutor. Now, there's always that jumping off point that comes from direct examination. But everything you do on cross is limited to what the witness has testified to or what you can get them to address so that you can then introduce it yourself. You got it?
In essence, what we're talking about is they have to have opened the door for your next question. That's what that really means there. You know.
Eddie, are you going to address the fact that the citation date? And I'm just asking you this.
No, I'm not.
Okay, fine.
Okay, because one, you're not going to know who did that and when. You're guessing.
The citation date is 3/10. I mean 3/20.
I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Listen to what I'm telling you.
Okay.
You don't know who did that, do you?
What are you talking about? Who did what?
Changed the fucking dates and got them wrong. You don't know who did that. Who's responsible for it, do you?
Well, that's an issue in itself, though. But
really,
it's
says
one
who?
that the court. It's one that a court will tend to overlook.
It will be called harmless fucking error, and
Okay,
you're
fine.
stuck with it.
Fine.
How does those dates change the case in any fucking way?
I don't know, but I've been asking you this.
I don't know.
You said
That's the problem, Jane. You're arguing about shit with no basis for why.
Just going. The reason I asked is because you said you were going to address it in our mock trial. That's what you said. So
no, I never said I was going to address those dates. I said if it was necessary and important enough to address, I will address it. I never said it was those dates. I'm talking about the case as a whole and the facts in it. Period.
Okay, fine. Let's go.
All right, who's trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? All right, now let's try this shit again. From the top, Mr. Prosecutor, your witness.
Well, I'm not, are we going to do the examination, or are we going to start over from the beginning here?
We're going to start with the questions. Let's pretend you call the officer to the stand. We're starting from the very top of the line of questions that the officer has to be asked.
Okay. So, are we still got Delgado on the stand here?
Delgado is on the stand, yes.
Okay, so
now normally you would ask the officer's name, occupation, how long they've been doing it, all this other shit.
Exactly. So, anyway, so yeah, because we got to build the foundation. So, Officer Grimaldi, state your name.
Nathalia Grimaldi Delgado.
Okay, what's your education?
I have all kinds of animal control certificates, stuff like that.
You have all kinds of, so you didn't go to elementary school, middle school, high
Oh,
school?
yeah, I graduated high school, yeah.
Okay, so did you go to college at all?
I don't remember right now.
Well, how would you get a certificate in animal control if you didn't go to college of some sort
I
or
had
a trade
training.
school?
I
What's
got-
that?
I got training from since I've been on the job.
Okay, so you have no education. You just learn what you did on the job. Is that correct?
Hang on, I'm gonna tell you right now.
Say it again. I can't hear you.
Okay, I have euthanasia training, animal control basic training. I have bite stick chemical capture training and cyber awareness, cybersecurity awareness training and cruelty investigative training.
Okay, and where did you get that training from?
There's 3 of them I got from Arlington Animal Services.
And who are they?
There's it's Arlington, Texas, and the instructors' names. You need those?
No. Who is that? Who is that little group there? Who are
Arlington
they, and
Animal
what
Services?
certifications do they have?
I don't know. I just know that's where I got my training on 3 of the ones I just told you about. And then from the city, the cybersecurity awareness training, I got that from the city of Irving. And the cruelty investigation training I got from Arlington Animal Services. And then NACI level 2, I got it from University of Missouri.
Okay. And when was that?
The Missouri one in 2024.
And what about the ones prior to that?
23 and let's see 2024 August.
Okay, so how long have you been working? So what's your position with Irving?
I'm an animal control officer.
And you've been doing that 2 years now?
Not quite. It's about a year or less than a year, I think.
Okay, so you received most of your training on the job, and you did a little college, and so your knowledge. So how many hours was your training as an animal control with cyber and all the rest? Can you give us how much training you've had for each one of those segments that you just mentioned here?
The University of Missouri, I got 36 hours. Cruelty investigator training, I got 14 hours. Euthanasia and bite stick, I got 8 hours apiece. On the cybersecurity, I don't have any hours listed here as far as the amount of, and the base animal control basic training, there's not a list of hours on my.
Okay, so you've had actually less than 40 hours training to do all these jobs here.
Yes.
So
I'm an appointed officer.
You're an appointed one?
Yes, appointed by the state of Texas.
So so are you a sworn officer?
Yeah, I signed the oath of office.
You signed an oath of office?
Yes, I did.
Can you present that to the court?
Now I have it right here in my hand.
Your oath of office?
Yes.
Can you post it, please?
Yep. See it. I gotta scan it.
So is that going to go in the chat there?
Yeah, it will, so we'll get scanning now. Hang on a second.
Is it like 9 o'clock where you are there already?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what you got there.
I'm getting it right now. Hang on. I'm gonna have to Here it is. Here, I'm gonna do a screenshot or just copy it. Come to you right now, as long as I can put a screenshot in the chat. Oh, I can't put a screenshot in the chat. See here. Oh, here it is right here. Okay. There you go.
Get posted. Just move on from there. Assume
There
she's
you go.
got it.
There. It's right there. It's in the chat.
Have you had any training in basic police academy?
No.
Did you ever receive a peace officer standard training course?
No.
Okay, so
Criminal
so you
control
haven't-
doesn't get any of that kind of training. They have no arrest powers. All they can do is issue citations and nothing more.
Okay, well, here in California, they require all this stuff. You know, you got to
Yeah,
go through
they
like
don't here.
a lot over here. Okay, so anyway, just getting it
Any
out of the way.
moron with a shopping cart degree can get it. They actually don't need a degree of any kind, but
Okay, so you don't have any law enforcement training. Okay, so can you tell us, have you had any interactions with Mrs. Lynch?
Just the day I issued her a citation
And what day was that?
on March the 20th.
Okay, so if you issued her a citation, what was that in relation to? Did you observe something that she did or something like that?
No, I just met her in the street and I had a signed affidavit and I was instructed to write a citation.
And about what day was that you met her on the street?
That was on March 20th or March 23rd. Let's see.
So what is it that made you to get involved with Lynch here? Around what date? Was it before or after the 20th, like you're saying here?
It was I got involved whenever the my supervisor told me to go write a citation based on
what day was that?
that was on the 23rd.
Did you observe anything that you wrote in your statement?
I observed what was seen what was shown in the video.
And what day was that?
That was on the video was dated March the 10th, but we didn't see it until March the 20th.
objection. How does the witness know the date of the video?
Because I saw the video.
That's the day you saw it. How do you know when the video was taken?
Because the video, the date is embedded into the video.
There's a
Okay, so
time
who-
stamp. Say that, Jane. There's
Yeah,
a time stamp on the video.
Okay, timestamp.
Okay, so who presented the video to you?
The Joni Smith, the one that wrote the sworn affidavit.
Okay, so are you saying that you provided information that allowed for a complaint to be drafted against Miss Lynch here?
Well, I didn't. My supervisor did. I'm just following the direction of supervisor.
Following the
Nazi.
So did your supervisor witness anything on the 10th day with the video? Did your supervisor make that video, or did she witness the making of that video?
No, she didn't. She just Miss Smith brought it into the office and had the supervisor view it, and then the supervisor says in the report here that video evidence of the feeding date is stamped on 3/10/25, so that will be the violation date. And then she initialized LAH in her badge number 2186.
Okay, so what were you charging Miss Lynch with here?
That she's feeding feral cats and unattended feeding actually is what I wrote in that, and leaving food out for cats and wildlife.
So your supervisor did not witness, and you did not witness any feeding any animals. Is that correct? Or putting it out?
No, I went to her house and she was trying to leave and I issued her a citation in the street.
Without you observing that, is that correct?
Yeah, I didn't do anything. I didn't go up to her door. I didn't go anywhere. So I know
Kev, I doubt very seriously if the prosecutor is
not
going to
gonna-
undermine their own witness by asking those questions that way.
yeah, they're not going to do that.
No, I know, but I'm just trying to get somewhere with it. So, so is it your belief that she is feeding animals?
Yes, we've been out there before.
How many times did you go out there before?
Well, I haven't, but there's reports and other investigative reports.
Objection, hearsay.
Okay.
Sustained.
Okay, so you how many animals did you see, or did your supervisor see to put that 11 or more adult animals are congregating?
That we didn't see 11 or more, and in the video evidence shows 3.
It shows 3. Okay, so can you tell me why it is that that you specified 11 here?
That was on behalf of the prosecutor made a mistake. Sorry. The prosecutor wrote that in there in the complaint.
You don't actually know who wrote the complaint, do you?
Okay. The clerks did.
Objection. Calls for speculation. Witness has no clue who actually wrote this complaint, only who says they signed it.
Okay.
Sustained.
I charged her on the citation with code 8191.
Hold on there a second. This is a point, a side note. No one knows who Estella de la Cruz is.
Yes, we know that.
So
we know
that's
she's a
what
court clerk. That much we do know.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even know that because it doesn't say that right there, right?
No,
We're
but
just
we know the
assuming that.
process. No,
Yeah.
you can go down and find her at the courthouse.
She's a fine.
Okay, but it doesn't state that here. But
No,
anyway,
it doesn't. You're right. But
If I-
again,
So
that's
that-
part of the problem.
that's just part of picking this apart. If you know, as a defense
know.
person.
That-
So anyway, let's go on to the next thing now. So, are you saying, Miss Delgado, that she is charged with a state crime?
It's a city ordinance law.
Okay.
Objection
so-
to the use of the term law to describe a city ordinance.
It's a city ordinance violation.
Okay.
Objection sustained.
Okay, so let me ask you another thing. Your complaint essentially is stating that Miss Lynch was feeding some animals on city property. Is that correct, or is that not correct?
I didn't write the complaint. I wrote the citation.
Okay, so did your citation state that?
Citation only says unattended feeding, public nuisance as the code, and illegal feeding of feral cats and wildlife. And it
Well,
says
Objection. The witness is presenting false information to the court. There is no such language in the ordinance.
when it says-
Sustained.
My question is that was Miss Lynch feeding the cats on city property, or was it on private property?
I don't know. She wasn't feeding anybody that day when I was out there. I just gave her a citation.
Okay, so who was it that told you about this again?
It's then my supervisor, because Miss Smith, it's in the investigative report, but you know, it says Miss Smith came into the to speak with officer about her neighbor feeding feral cats again.
Okay, let me stop us for a second and interject something here. Jane, this is where you need to keep this in mind in court.
Okay.
I don't give a shit how many of those fucking reports they pull out and read, talk about, or anything else. It doesn't fucking matter.
Okay.
You understand me?
All right.
It doesn't fucking matter. Why? Because there's nothing in those reports that contradicts the requirements of the statute, other than the allegation that you're doing something that, I'm sorry, the ordinance, that you're doing something that the ordinance does not even fucking address.
Okay, but I'm the officer. I'm not the defendant right now.
Jane, I'm talking to you as Jane.
I know.
Okay. All right, Jane, do me a favor. Say pop.
Why?
Just say pop.
I said it. Pop.
Pop. Good. Now that your head's out of your ass, listen to me.
Whatever. Okay.
We don't care if they try to introduce the reports. Just sit there and watch them go unless they say something that you know for a fact and can prove is wrong. Okay? Otherwise, sit there and shut up.
You mean don't
Object only when they truly fuck up.
Okay.
And listen carefully to everything they say. Whether it's the question being asked or the answer being given. That's your ammunition. You got it?
Yeah, but when are they truly, what part are they going to be truly fucked up that she hadn't already fucked up? And you're not objecting to?
You'll know when you hear
till
it.
they ask the fucking question, Jane, and give a fucking answer to it. You'll know they fucked up when you go, well, when did Miss Lynch murder her neighbor? That would be a fuck up, wouldn't it, Jane? That needs to be object to. Kind of an obvious one, right?
Okay.
Now you open your mouth and object. And the witness goes, well, I don't know that she murdered her, but she beat the living hell out of her. Objection. There's no such facts or evidence in the record. This is not about an alleged assault, which didn't occur. You get it?
So then whenever she starts talking about the report, you say object. There's not, you know.
Object to what?
It assumes facts. It's not an evidence and not been stipulated to. And
if they're reading it out of the report and introducing the report, it's there, Jane. Now, it may be wrong information, which you can address on cross.
Okay.
Got it? All right, continue, please.
Okay, so let's see here now. So, Ms. Delgado, was any public or property destroyed?
Not that I can see.
Was there any danger to public health?
By leaving food out, yes.
Okay. And
objection. That's a presumption, not a fact. It's a personal opinion. The witness is not sworn in as an expert witness.
Sustained.
Okay, so, well, do you have any cross there?
Are you done questioning the witness?
I'm done questioning this one, yeah.
Okay. Officer Delgado, you said you've had education to do your job, correct?
Yes.
Where did you get your law degree?
I didn't get a law degree. I told you what I had.
So there's no law degree. So where did you get your specialized training in how to read statutes and ordinances?
I did not.
You did not. So you really don't have a clue what the ordinance actually says, do you?
I can read English.
You can read English, but this is not written in English. It's written in legalese. Where's your certification in understanding legalese?
I don't have that.
Kevin, please mute your microphone if you're going to keep chomping down in it like that. Thank you.
I don't have that.
You don't have that. In other words, you don't really have any ability or any actual training, I should say, to read and interpret a statute, right?
Well, I say no, but in that, I don't know what NACI is. I'm that 36 hours of university.
It ain't going to be that, I guarantee
Okay.
it.
All right, then no, I don't.
Yet you're interpreting the ordinance to say that it's illegal under the ordinance to feed cats.
I just did what I was told.
That's not the answer to my question.
Oh,
You are interpreting the ordinance to say that it somewhere says it's illegal to feed cats. Correct?
yes.
Let me get this pulled back up here again. And this is the ordinance in question, is it not? Here's a copy for you, a copy for the court, and a copy for the prosecution. Section 6-80, animal nuisances.
How come the prosecutor's not objecting? Okay, but anyway, go ahead.
Is this a statute you are that the prosecution is attempting to use against the defendant?
I guess so.
Isn't that what's written in the complaint?
I didn't write the complaint.
Have you seen the complaint?
No,
No. So why are you testifying to what's in it?
I'm not.
You're not.
I only testify to what's in the citation.
Are we being is the defendant being prosecuted by citation or by complaint?
I don't know. That's above my head.
So you're here to testify to the facts alleged in the complaint?
No, only the citation. I didn't write the complaint.
So you're not here to testify to the facts alleged in the complaint.
No, just the citation.
Then why are you being called to testify at all? No one's introduced a citation into evidence. No one's brought up anything about the citation other than the fact you wrote one. Who asked you to testify to its contents?
I don't know. I don't know. I just did what I was told.
You were told to testify to the contents of the citation and not the complaint by who?
Well, actually, the witness list, I forgot to tell y'all this part. It says supposed witness. It says tentative witness list. Sorry.
Because they always want to be able to add more.
Yeah.
In any case, who told you to testify to what's in the citation?
My supervisor.
Your
Laura
supervisor. So your supervisor told you what to say when you got on the stand.
No, just told me to answer.
Well, you just testified that they did.
Well, they told me to write the citation.
And you said you're here to testify to what's in the citation. So you're testifying to something that your supervisor told you to write.
The prosecutor said to come testify.
So the prosecutor called you as a witness knowing that you had no firsthand knowledge of what was in the citation or the complaint?
Yes.
I never asked her to write anything like that.
Well, the prosecutor's saying that's not what they asked you. So are you lying or is the prosecutor lying?
I don't know what the prosecutor asked the defendant or the witness to come and testify to tell you the truth. I don't know.
Yeah, Jane, I get that. Neither does the witness.
Okay. I know.
Again, I'm playing off what you're saying while you're there.
Yeah, I don't know what else to say.
You know why? Because I'm listening to what I'm hearing.
Okay.
And I'm trapping you every time you open your mouth.
Okay.
This is the thing you need to learn how to do when you're talking to the damn witness.
Okay.
6-80 is the ordinance that you are accusing the defendant of violating, correct?
Yes, I guess that's. I haven't seen the complaint though.
Well, you said that it's against the city ordinance. Are you saying you wrote a citation for a violation of an ordinance that you don't even know if it exists or not?
It's under public nuisance. I didn't write down the actual ordinance number.
It's under public nuisance or it's under animal nuisance?
It's the code I put is 8191 public nuisance.
Where is code 8191 in the code of ordinances?
It's not in there. I don't think it's published.
So you're saying that someone is being prosecuted for an unpublished ordinance?
That's just a code, offense code that we use.
Jane, they are not going to talk about that goddamn offense code.
Well, she wrote it in the fucking citation, but anyway, the other one at least put down 680. This one didn't even do that. So anyway,
Okay, then let's take a look at that. This is the citation you issued, correct? Let me see if I got the damn citations in here. Anyway, you have the citation in front of you, don't you?
yeah, I do.
Okay. And the citation says a violation of what?
I'd like to see that.
Unattended feeding code 8191.
Code 8191. Where is that code found?
I don't know.
You don't know. Did you provide a
our-
copy of that code to the accused on the day you issued the citation?
No, it's just an offense code that we use for a public nuisance.
How is the public supposed to know a code that you just used if they're not given any information about what it is?
I don't know.
So
But-
you don't know what the defendant's being charged with doing other than you claim it's feeding animals.
Well, it says unattended feeding or illegal feeding of feral cats and wildlife.
That's
Yes.
what the citation says.
Yeah, affidavit.
But you say that's written under code 8191,
Right.
which you say you don't know where that is or what it is.
It's
correct?
Just a code, it's a code for public nuisance, but it's not published.
If it's not published, how can anyone get notice of what they're violating?
The complaint puts in there what they're getting charged.
So you're
with.
saying a person can't know they're in violation of this so-called 8191 ordinance until they've committed the violation and get a complaint against them?
Right.
So there's no notice to the public of the violation.
It's not published, no.
Jane, that's so fucking wrong. That would be unconstitutional on its face if that's what they actually
That's
did.
exactly what has happened, though.
Jane, it is not. She is not, unless you specifically ask about it, she is not going to testify to anything about 8191. And she's damn sure not going to say anything about it being the ordinance.
Okay.
She's going to know that that 8191 code refers to this fucking ordinance.
Okay.
Is this a copy of the ordinance you are accusing the defendant of violating?
Yes.
Can you please read the first two words in the first paragraph of section 6-80,
The
animal
owner.
nuisances?
The owner.
The owner. Can you please show me where on the citation that the defendant is identified as the owner of the animals in question?
On the citation? No.
Can you please show me in the criminal complaint? And here's a copy of that. Please show me in the criminal complaint where it says the defendant is the owner.
No.
No what?
No, I don't see it in the complaint.
You don't see it in the complaint. Would that be because it's not in the complaint?
But it's in the ordinance. It's not in the complaint.
That's what we're talking about. The ordinance says the owner of any animal. Does the complaint allege that the accused is the owner?
No, it does not.
No, it does not. Okay. Then it goes and charges with subsection E, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, before we move down to subsection E, let's finish up with this. The ordinance specifically reads, the owner of any animal in the city is responsible for the behavior and conduct of that animal at all times, including conduct that creates a public nuisance. What public nuisance?
What is a public nuisance?
No. What public nuisance are you alleging was created based upon the charge?
Leaving food out for feral cats. Unattended feeding.
Okay. So the ordinance then identifies unattended feeding or leaving out food as a public nuisance.
I don't know.
You don't know. You charged them with it. Why don't you know?
It was based on the affidavit.
Who wrote the affidavit?
Joni Smith.
Is Joni Smith an animal control officer?
No,
Does she work in your office?
no, she's just a person who wrote the affidavit and swore to it.
Then how could she know what constitutes a public nuisance if you don't?
I don't know.
Seems to be a lot you don't know. A person commits an offense if by act, omission, or possession, he or she allows an animal to create a public nuisance. The following are public nuisances. E, that's the subsection you said the defendant was being charged with, correct?
That's what's in the complaint.
E says a person commits an offense if she or he intentionally feeds any animal or makes food available for animal consumption in a manner that, and then it lists 3 things that follow that, correct?
I see that on the screen. Yes.
You see that in the paper copy of the ordinance I would have given you, right?
Yes.
So, at what point did you observe a specific identifiable danger to the public health and safety?
I didn't observe it. It's just that what
You didn't observe it, but you are alleging the defendant did it.
by leaving food out, not attended.
Did you observe that?
I myself personally, no.
Yourself personally, no. And yet you're claiming that leaving food out is in and of itself creates a danger to public health or safety. Based on what?
It attracts wild animals.
That's a presumption. That's an opinion. What specific facts or evidence do you have that the defendant knowingly, intentionally fed an animal in a manner to create a danger to public health or safety?
I didn't say that she couldn't feed him. She just can't leave food out.
You did say she couldn't feed him. You said she was being charged with feeding an animal and leaving food out.
It says unattended feeding.
So you're saying it makes a difference about whether she's attending to them while they're being fed?
It's illegal feeding of feral cats by unattended, not watching them feed.
Can you please show me where item E, 1, 2, or 3 says unattended?
No,
No? Why no?
it's not in there.
It's not in there. Can you please show me where it specifically says that feeding by itself without 1, 2, or 3 is a violation of the ordinance?
No,
No. And why is that?
it's not in there.
It's not in there. Now, again, without giving me your opinion, specifically identify to the court the danger that was created to the public health and safety by the defendant allegedly feeding cats.
We have coyotes in the area.
Did you see a coyote?
No,
Were coyotes present?
no,
Have you ever seen a coyote there eating out of these so-called food bowls?
no.
No. So again, you're offering up a speculation, aren't you?
Yes.
Please identify specifically what public or private property was destroyed. And if it was private property, whose property?
I don't know because I wrote in the thing that nobody owned any property over there. I didn't find out whether or not it was property owned, private property.
So the answer to my question is you don't know that there was any property damaged at all, whether public or private?
That's not been anything that I become aware of. No property damage.
So you have no evidence of property damage, public or private, correct?
No,
And you have no actual evidence of the defendant creating a danger to public health or safety, correct? It's just your opinion that that's what happened.
right.
But you never witnessed any of it happening.
No,
And the person who signed the affidavit, to your knowledge, never made any allegation that any of it happened.
no, not that I know of.
Okay. Number 3, causes more than 10 adult animals to congregate in one location at the same time. How many animals have you observed eating out of these alleged food bowls?
I haven't observed any of them.
You haven't observed any of them.
No,
Do you have photos of animals eating out of these bowls?
no, we just have the video evidence.
You have video evidence showing animals doing what?
Eating from plates that Miss Lynch left on the ground.
How many animals?
2 eating and 1 in the background.
2 eating and 1 in the background. What is 2 plus 1?
3,
3. Is 3 more or less than 10?
less.
It's not even equal, is it?
No,
It's less, right?
yes,
Okay. And the ordinance specifically says more than 10 adult animals, right?
yes.
Now, it says in one location. Can you please identify for the court what is considered a location?
Where she's putting the food?
Where she's putting the food.
Yes.
Where does the ordinance say that location is determined by where she's putting the food?
Well, you
What
can
if 10 animals congregated in her backyard and there was no food there?
I don't know.
You don't know. What about 20? What if 20 animals congregated in her backyard and there was no food there?
Not a problem if there's no food.
It's not a problem if there's no food. So why then would there be a problem for those very same animals to be present if there was food?
Because if any of them are wild, it creates a danger to public
They
health.
were wild without food. You just said it's not a problem if there's no food. We didn't say that they were one kind of animal or another. You just said as long as there's no food, there's no problem. Isn't that your testimony?
Yeah, because if there's no food, they'll probably leave.
Then why would they be congregating there in the first place?
I don't know.
You don't know. So you don't know whether food would determine whether they congregated there or not, do you?
No, I don't know.
No. So your supposition that putting out food attracts wild animals is just a fucking guess, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you. Now, you've not witnessed a danger to public health or safety that you can identify. You
No.
have no evidence that Miss Lynch is the owner of these animals. You have no evidence of any public or private property being destroyed. You have no complaint of private property being destroyed or public property being destroyed, do you?
No.
So, and you haven't seen more than 10 adult animals congregated in one location, wherever that location may be, and whatever else may be present, correct?
No.
So you charged the defendant with the commission of an offense that you have no knowledge of whatsoever. And the evidence you have proves very clearly that no section of the ordinance was violated, and yet you still issued a citation. Why?
Because the affidavit, that sworn affidavit.
Is the affidavit the ordinance?
No.
Is the affidavit able to supplant the requirements of the ordinance?
Since the affidavit was sworn and it's notarized, then yeah.
The affidavit says absolutely nothing that would show a violation of the ordinance, does it?
I mean, not that I can see.
So it's not an affidavit of anything, is it?
Oh,
The affidavit just says Jane feeds cats.
and also that she leaves food out.
Again, the ordinance does not say leaving out food is a violation of the ordinance,
Okay.
unless the leaving out of the food results in one of these three things. And you just testified that no one has ever complained that any of these three things has ever happened. And yet you still wrote a citation based upon an affidavit that on its face you admit doesn't say anything that would allow you to make a charge out of it.
Exactly.
Well, let me interject something, guys.
Go ahead.
Jane, do you know what a danger to public health or safety would be?
Coyotes coming around and biting people, and wild animals having rabies.
What else?
Any number of things could create a danger to public health and safety.
Okay, so would you say that a sick animal wandering into, let's say you fed an animal and it was unhealthy and it had some, communicable disease, and it went into a farmer's field and was over there for quite a while, and do you think that that would create a public safety if it was a communicable disease that the animals had?
It could.
Okay, so now what if you were feeding animals and it destroyed some crops? What would that be under this E?
Destruction of public or private property.
Right, so, and what would that mean? Would that mean that it's a public nuisance?
Yes.
Okay, so see, this is what we got to get here in our mind when we're talking about this, is these other things here that most people think are public nuisances, because if we have no idea what a public nuisance is, how can you defend against this, right?
Well, the first thing is it would have to be accessible to the public. Both of the things you described would go under private property damage.
Well,
if
not
they carried
necessarily,
if they carried a communicable disease into someone's herd of cows, that's private property damage. That's not publicly accessible property. It's not a public problem.
Well, we
the only
don't know
time it
that
would become a
'cause,
public problem is if
we
the
don't
disease
know-
could be transmitted to humans from the cows that got infected.
Well, we don't know if the private property was fenced or not, but let's say it was an open field. I mean, that's something to think about. So anyway, let's move on and continue. Go ahead.
Okay. So basically, you're testifying that you have no actual knowledge of anything and that you have no evidence that any part of this ordinance was violated by the defendant.
No, I don't have any evidence according to what you're showing me there.
Okay. I have no further questions for this witness, but I reserve the right to recall.
Okay. So are you going to have a redirect?
No, I'm gonna. I don't have any more questions for this one, but I do reserve the right to bring her back. Let's call. What was their supervisor's name?
No, yeah, we can go through that if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well. Her name is Laura Hollinger.
Okay, so let's put Laura Hellinger on the phone here.
I'm
testify.
Ready.
Okay, let me get a proper screen up here.
And
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, I do. And she has tons of certifications, but nothing is legal that from what I recall. And I'm not going to be able to produce all of those for you.
Well, number one, you don't want to admit any of that.
I'm just telling you, as me, that before we get to her, let me see if there's anything in here that says that she's got University of Missouri law enforcement.
Well, why don't you wait until the questions start rolling? I got to find where we are here.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so please state your name.
Laura Hollinger.
When were you born?
I don't know. Way back in the day.
What's your education?
I have a lot of education in regards to animals, and then I have some University of Missouri law enforcement, but there's from 2020, dropping the dog catcher at the pound.
What does that have to do with education?
That's what it's that's what it says. Continuing education courses is dropping the dog at catcher at the pound. I got that from Urban Animal Services, but through University of Missouri law enforcement.
Okay. So, how long did you attend?
That one doesn't have any hours beside it.
Okay. So, do you have any training in law enforcement at all?
Let me see.
Did you
Uh,
attend any
advanced-
police academy types of education?
I have investigating, prosecuting blood sports. There's no hours beside it. I have
That would be dog and cockfighting, by the way.
okay. I have animal crime scenes and evidence collection. No hours beside it. I have civility training from Urban University.
Civility training.
hmm
What the hell is that?
I don't know, but it's 8 hours, and then I have animal
De-escalation and public interface techniques.
cruelty investigations workshop, 16 hours.
Okay, so all your training has been less than 20 hours in each of those areas. Is that correct?
Yeah, I have several different more areas, but I have breeder law updates, 1.5 hours. I have miscellaneous trainings, but I don't see anything in here. It says, employment law. I haven't gotten to that yet. Or it says that I took it in 2020, but there's no hours beside it. So.
Okay, so can you tell me, so did you, how did you come to assess anything with defendant Lynch here?
On the 25th, which that's a new date. On the 25th at 10:20 a.m.
25th of what?
Of March.
25th of March?
Yeah.
And that was last year, was it?
No, March 2025.
Okay, so that was the last month, right?
Yeah. The Miss Smith came in to speak with an officer about her neighbor feeding feral cats again. And I spoke with her, and she advised that she had a Ring video camera. She could provide video showing that the suspect, Mrs. Lynch, feeding feral cats on her own or her owned animals that aren't supposed to be outside, and at large. The CCTV depicted her leaving cat food out and walking away back inside her residence. I asked if the cats were ear tipped, and she stated she didn't know. The video obtained, the video is too large to attach to the case file attached to the J drive. She obtained an affidavit and provided that to me for notary, which is also attached to the case and in the invest file. Video evidence of the feeding date is stamped for March the 10th, 2025. So that would be the violation date.
Okay, so so the violation date was the 25th?
The violation date is from the video that was time stamped of March the 10th.
Okay, did you issue a citation?
No, that was because she came here on the 25th. Oh wow, this is so weird. I'm just now seeing this, Eddie. I'm sorry. It says 3/25/2025. That's when they created the report, but I was issued the citation on the 23rd.
How could that be if you weren't aware of it until the 25th?
I don't know.
So, did you issue a citation, or was it somebody else?
Oh no, that was the time that it was updated. She came in initially on the 20th of March.
Who is she?
Miss Smith.
Okay, and she reported what again?
She reported that her neighbor was feeding the cats again, and they were getting on top of her cars and on her private patio, and then she's leaving food out until it's gone, and sometimes the plates are left out. And she provided the video evidence showing that Miss Lynch was feeding the cats.
Did you personally interview her, or was it somebody else?
I did.
Okay, you did. Okay. Did she bring any witnesses with her?
She just brought her video evidence.
Okay.
She got a sworn affidavit, and I notarized it for her.
What was it? State law that she broke, or was it something else?
It's a city ordinance.
Which one is that?
680.E.
Okay, can you recite that for the court?
I don't have it right in front of me. I don't think that's the way it's going to go, is it?
It could.
Okay, you're the prosecutor, right?
Well, sometimes we ask you what it is, right? So continue on.
Yeah,
In
but you're
order to make you look like a competent, credible witness, they will ask you hard questions so that you will be able to answer them. They'll usually coach you so you can answer them right. But they
Okay.
do that to impress upon the judge or jury that you're competent.
Okay, so then it says what the offense being charged is under 6.80E.
Okay, we want you to recite that, ma'am.
It's down at the bottom right there. A person commits an offense if he or she intentionally feeds an animal or makes food available for animal consumption in a manner that creates a danger to public health or safety, to destroy public or private property, or causes more than 10 adult animals to congregate in one location at the same time. And a person is deemed to have fed an animal if he or she places any substance that meets the nutritional needs of the animals within reach of the animals.
Okay, so did you, after the neighbor came in and reported to you, did you perform any investigation?
No,
Did you cause anybody else to investigate?
no, we've been out there before.
So the answer is no, correct?
No, not on this particular time. We did not.
Okay, so if there's no investigation, how come there was a complaint written then? Can you explain that?
We wrote we didn't write the complaint. We put the citation. I instructed my officer to go give Miss Lynch a citation based on the affidavit that was written, sworn affidavit.
Okay, so did Delgado perform any investigation at all?
No, not that I'm aware of. She just drove up to her house and gave her a citation. Well, she asked her if she was feeding cats again.
Okay, so so you're saying that she did not investigate, is that correct?
She just met her in the street and asked her if she was feeding feral cats again, and they had an affidavit, and then they had to write a citation on the behalf of the other person who wrote the affidavit.
Your Honor,
I'm your witness, member. I'm your witness.
oh, I know. So you're saying that there was no investigation by you or Delgado into on the 10th day of March 2025 personally. Is that correct?
That's right. But it sounds like you're crossing me, not direct examining me.
You can leave your comments out of there, okay? Okay, so I have no more questions, but I'd like to recall Miss Delgado back to the stand.
Oh, you would already? Okay.
Don't we have to move over to Eddie questioning first, and
Oh,
then
yeah,
we can
that's right.
recall?
Yeah, I get my cross and then he can recall after that if necessary. And what'd you say this lady's name is?
Delgado. Oh,
Laura Hollinger.
Hollinger.
Hollinger. Hull Hollinger.
Okay. Now, Miss Hollinger, you say that let's see, what's your neighbor's name? Joni what?
Smith.
Smith. You said that Mrs. Smith came in and brought you some video.
Yes.
Did you authenticate the video in any way?
I saw that it had a date or timestamp on it inside the video, inside the video.
Do you know where the video came from?
It says, it's also in the top left-hand corner, it says Ring camera.
Whose Ring camera?
She's the one that brought it in, so it's her Ring camera.
That's an assumption. Does the video specifically say that it has her name on it, showing it's her Ring camera?
No, it does not. She just brought it in.
She just brought in video showing a house with cats, and you assumed that the video depicted Miss Lynch's cats and property?
Well, the video came from her Ring camera that shows Miss Lynch on her.
How do you know that?
Because the witness, because the lady, Miss Smith said it was from her camera.
Miss Smith said it was from her camera, but you didn't authenticate it. You didn't verify that it was from her camera because you testified you did no investigation before or after to determine whether or not what the video depicted was in fact something that existed at the scene. Correct?
I didn't authenticate.
You didn't. Well, who did?
As a side note, Eddie, I think they did send somebody over there to verify the evidence.
Well, then we'll figure that out when that witness testifies.
Okay.
They'd have to have explicit training on programming of Ring cameras. They'd have to provide that evidence in order for it to be admissible in the court.
Okay.
Well, also they'd have to go and look through on the NVR or the DVR to see if the camera is pointed at the right house and everything else to verify it, right? So that's part of it. So anyway, continue on.
There would have to be some manner of investigation to validate the video, which in what we have so far, there was none. That's my point.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she admitted it too.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Now, you said that she swore out an affidavit, correct?
Yes.
And this is a copy of that affidavit, correct?
Yes.
Can you please show me where anything is alleged in this affidavit that is a violation of the ordinance?
Well, she's not supposed to leave food out for cats.
Is that your opinion, or does the ordinance say that?
Not the ordinance that is listed in the 6.80.
6.80 does not say anything about leaving food out, does it?
No.
This simply says that food was fed to cats at all hours, day and night, right?
Yes.
And then she complains that her cats are on my private patio, but she doesn't identify who her is, right?
No, she doesn't.
You're just assuming that because of the way she wrote it, she was talking about this Jane Lynch, correct?
It says Jane continues to feed cats at all hours, day and night, mostly night. Her cats are on my private patio on top of my car. Food is put out and left out until it's gone. Sometimes plates are left out overnight. Or
Okay.
sometimes they're left out overnight, or whatever.
It just says plates are sometimes left out.
Yeah, that's what it said, and then it points over to the other side.
I have provided animal services with Ring video of Jane dropping food off and walking away.
Yes.
Okay. Please show me where any of that is listed as an offense in this ordinance.
Well, she commits an offense because she feeds animals.
Objection. Not the answer to my question. I don't want your opinion of how she commits an offense. I want you to tell me where what is written in that affidavit is identified as an offense in this ordinance.
I don't see it right there.
You don't see it, but this is the section listed in the criminal complaint, isn't it?
From what I understand, yes.
This is what the defendant's being accused of, isn't it?
Yes.
Yet there's nothing in the affidavit to support any of this, is there?
Not in the wording that.
What did you base your directive to Delgado on to tell her to go issue a citation?
The video evidence in this sworn affidavit.
The video evidence that you didn't verify and validate, that you performed no investigation of, and an affidavit that alleges nothing that's illegal. That's what you based it on?
Sent the officer over there to see, ask her, I guess, if she's feeding cats. And she said yes.
And again, where does the ordinance say that in and of itself feeding cats is illegal?
Actually, I don't see cats in there anywhere.
Right. But again, where does it say simply feeding anything is illegal?
It's got to be somewhere else in the ordinance.
Well, that's not somewhere else that was in the complaint. This is what's in the complaint.
Right.
So let's deal with this.
Okay. Well, it's not written exactly, worded exactly.
Right. And the words indoor or outdoor does not appear in this ordinance either, does it?
No, not that I can see.
So there's nothing that identifies where an animal can be fed in order to commit a violation of this, does it?
No.
And there's nothing in it that alleges that feeding alone is a violation of the ordinance, correct?
Well, it creates a danger to public health.
That's an opinion. Once again, answer the question I asked. Yes or no?
Not that I know of. But, you know, prosecutors are going to be doing some hopping up and down over there.
Let them.
Okay. I mean, objecting and stuff like that.
They're always going to object when you're kicking their fucking ass.
That's right.
Okay.
But if you will notice, I have not gotten off point on a single fucking thing. There's nothing for them to object to except I'm murdering their fucking witnesses.
Badgering the witness.
Nope, not even badgering.
Okay.
Continue, mister.
So in other words, you ordered your officer to go harass a citizen and charge them with an offense that you had absolutely no evidence had even been committed.
Without
How about sum it up?
Well, the woman keeps coming into our campus and complaining, and we keep going out there and
issuing citations for something that isn't a violation of the ordinance, right?
She's already on probation for one.
Objection. Non-responsive.
Okay.
Please instruct the witness to answer the question I asked her.
Sustained, you must answer.
What was the question?
You simply ordered your officer to go out and harass an innocent individual and charge them with an offense that it was never committed, didn't you?
I just asked her to write a citation.
You're her supervisor, correct?
Exactly.
If you ask her to do something like that, don't you think she sees it more as an order than an ask? Did you say, would you please go write a citation? You don't have to, but if you would, please do. Or
no,
did you say, go write a citation?
I said, go write a citation.
So you gave her an order to write a citation for an offense that you had no evidence had even been committed. Correct?
Not according to what you're showing me right there, no.
I believe we're done with this witness, but I reserve the right to recall.
Would the prosecution like to redirect?
No. We'd like to bring up another one.
All right.
Let's see here.
You got Miss Smith left, I think.
Well, he did also mention he wanted to bring back the first one.
Yeah, he
too.
wants to bring back Delgado.
Yeah, later. Let's bring on Smith.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
State your name.
Joni Smith.
What's your address?
810 Ventura Park, Irving, Texas.
Okay, is in Irving, Texas. Okay, state your education.
I am a newborn assistant nanny.
That's your job, not your
State,
education.
that's non-responsive. Please.
Okay. I am as far as education, as far as what? Oh, I have a certification for a beautician. I have a beautician license. That's what I have.
Well, did you graduate high school, go to
Oh, yeah,
college?
yes, I did. I think
You did or you didn't?
I did. I believe I did in Ohio.
So you don't actually know if you did or not, or is that right?
Oh, I did. I graduated in Ohio, and then I got my beautician license.
Okay. And what's your work experience?
For all of my life, practically, I've been babysitting newborns in rich people's houses.
And are you still currently involved in that activity?
Yeah, it's my own business.
Okay. So can you tell me, so what is your work schedule like anyway?
I work every night. I work at night. I leave about anywhere from 5:30 to 8:30. I work my own hours. I get to do what I want to do, and then I stay going until the morning about 7:30.
Okay. So tell me, you wrote a complaint, is that correct?
I did.
And what date was that?
I believe it was on March the 20th.
Objection. There's no evidence in the record that this witness ever filed an actual complaint.
No, that's right. An affidavit
Sustained.
Okay, so you wrote an affidavit. What date did you do that?
on March the 20th, 2025.
Okay, and then what was the date of the incident within that affidavit?
The provided video that showed in the video timestamp of March the 10th. That was the last day of Miss Lynch's probation.
What does Lynch have to do with probation here?
Because that was the last day on her deferred probation from the first time she got a citation, and I made sure that it was on that date so that she would violate it.
Oh, okay.
Jane.
That's the truth, though. Okay,
No,
all right.
that's your speculation.
She probably had no idea that you were on probation.
Yeah, that's the reason why 10th is there. Trust me. But anyway, go ahead.
That's the reason why what?
That's the reason why that date of the 10th is on there. That was the last day of my probation.
Okay, so
So she got the video from her camera that matched the date of the 10th and submitted it.
okay, so now you're saying that so you signed a statement on the 20th of March, is that correct?
Yes, I did.
So how come you're telling us that that happened on the 25th?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that I wrote the sworn affidavit and had it notarized on the 20th of March, and I provided evidence that showed that that Miss Lynch was feeding the cats on the March the 10th.
Okay, so how do you okay, so she's feeding cats. What does that have to do with violating the law?
Well, she's not supposed to feed cats outside, and she's not supposed to leave food outside. They're not supposed to be she's not supposed to feed cats outside.
How do you know that? How do you know it's not allowed?
Because I've come up before, and she already got cited once. She's already on probation for the first citation.
Well, you didn't explain. How do you know that that's a law or not? That she's not supposed to feed a cat?
Because she got charged with it before.
And what was that charge?
That was the same thing: animal feeding, public nuisance.
Objection. I would like to voir dire for the personal knowledge.
Well,
I'm gonna guess granted because I'm not sure about that one.
That means I get to interrupt his questioning to put questions to the witness about what she just testified to find out how she got that information.
How does she know that there was another previous situation? Yes.
Yep,
Is she the root?
sustained.
Was she the cause and the root of the previous one as well?
Yes.
She's the cause of all of them, but that's beside the point. All right,
Yeah.
let's
Okay,
focus on
okay.
this.
All right, let's
Miss Smith,
continue.
So on
hang
this
on.
grounds, then I would say sustained.
No, you said granted. Proceed.
Granted. Proceed. Yep.
Ms. Smith, you just testified that the defendant was previously charged. How do you know that?
Because I went to the animal control off campus at that time, and I talked. I was upset, and I told them that she's still feeding the cats, causing a nuisance, and she stated that the cats aren't being fed according to the ordinance. This is what Miss Smith stated. Stating the food is left out and not picked up. She doesn't believe the cats are spayed or neutered, ear tipped, or vaccinated, and requested that we address the situation again.
You're testifying as Miss Smith, not as the supervisor.
I'm reading what Miss Smith said at the animal control place.
Well, then say it like Miss Smith would have said it,
Okay.
not like the supervisor would have read it.
Okay, I went out to the animal control place, and because I was really upset because my neighbor Miss Lynch was still feeding the cats, causing a nuisance. As you know, having cats around is just a nuisance. And
Okay, stop.
what?
Let me interrupt you for a moment, ma'am. Are you saying you don't like cats?
No, I don't like sewer cats. Is what
You
she
don't
called
like sewer cat. What's a sewer cat?
cats that come out of the sewer.
And you witnessed these cats coming out of the sewer?
Well, I call it the sewer, but other people call it storm drain. We call it sewer up north.
Well, here there's only rainwater there. There's no sewage that run through those drains. They feed into open creeks, so no human or other waste is allowed to be put in there.
Right.
So they're not sewer cats, I wouldn't think, but that's what you're calling any cat that comes out of a storm drain is a sewer cat.
Or any cat, period. I don't like cats.
You don't like cats. So
No.
would it be fair to say then that you don't like the fact that your neighbor has cats?
Exactly.
And didn't you just testify that you've made more than one complaint against her because of her having cats?
Yes. I have made more than even the last one. I've made 2 more before that.
So what you're saying is that you make a habit out of harassing your neighbors if they own a pet.
No, that the cats are outside and she's feeding them and that they come onto my property
But
sometimes.
you just said that you don't like her because she has cats. So
I didn't say I
obviously
didn't
the
like her.
reason you're making these complaints is because you want to harass a neighbor who owns cats.
No, I don't like her. It has nothing to do with I'm using the cats to harass her. That's the truth, but I can't say that. Okay, so let's see here. No, she just keeps feeding cats outside, and they've been on my car, they've been on my patio.
Are the cats hers?
I see them go in her house.
But that doesn't necessarily make her the owner, does it?
You're not supposed to harbor cats in your house.
Again, that's an opinion.
They're either
Seeing a
indoor-
cat go in someone's house does not automatically make them the owner, does it?
No, but the animal control people told me that they have.
Objection, hearsay. Please answer my questions instead of running off to answer your own.
Okay.
Now, you said you see these cats come out of a storm drain, correct?
Well, some of them do.
Some of them. How many is some of them?
I don't know. There's I can't keep count. There's too many.
So what you're actually saying is if you can't keep count, it's because you can't individually identify each cat, correct?
No, I don't like cats. I just see them on my camera.
So you can't identify individually every cat you see from another cat you see, correct?
No, they all look alike to me.
They all look alike to you. So you're
They're
saying
nasty.
these cats are Chinese or Guatemalan or
They're
Vietnamese
all
or something like that.
disgusting sewer cats.
Okay. So what we've established then, if I've got your testimony accurate, is that you don't like your neighbor, you don't like cats, therefore you don't like the fact that your neighbor owns cats, that you've reported your neighbor for owning cats many times, if in fact these cats are hers, and that you can't identify the individual cats to know who owns them, where they come from, and where they actually live You just see them and assume they're all one person's. Would that be about accurate?
Yeah, because she feeds them and they come there.
Again, does feeding in and of itself establish ownership? You feed you feed any of your friends or family?
No, I don't have any friends. But my sister lives with me right now.
Do you feed her?
Yeah, or she feeds me.
Does that mean you own her or she owns you?
No,
So feeding in and of itself does not establish ownership, does it?
not necessarily when you're talking about humans.
Well, how does it establish it in any other way with any other life form?
Well, if she didn't own them and that they weren't hers, then she wouldn't be feeding them.
Do you know that? How do you know her state of mind? Are you also a licensed psychologist?
No, but she's a
Has she told you personally that she wouldn't feed them if they weren't hers?
No.
So in other words, you're just making shit up.
Yeah, I don't. She's a psychotic neighbor. I don't like her.
Objection. Again, personal opinion, derogatory, inflammatory, libelous.
Sustained.
So, in other words, you just make a complaint to harass your neighbor.
I don't like the cats around.
Again, not the answer to the question I asked.
No, I don't like my neighbor, but I don't like the cats around either.
So you file complaints just to harass your neighbor.
It's to make her stop.
Make her stop what?
Actually, I would like for her to move, but if I can't get her to do that, then I need to make sure that she can't do what she wants to do.
Do you honestly think this woman's going to answer that way, Jane?
She says
I do not.
She says some stupid stuff on the stand for sure.
Well, if she does, you use it to beat her to death with it. But
Right.
until she does, play it straight.
Okay. All right. I just don't like the animals walking in my yard. I don't want them around at all.
Well, your yard's outside, right?
My yard's outside and next to her yard.
Then how are you going to keep animals of any kind out of your yard?
It's my property and I shouldn't have to deal with anybody walking across my property.
Well, how many blue jays, mockingbirds, and woodpeckers do you think are going to listen to what you want?
I don't know.
How many dogs, cats, anything else that walks around at day or night, field mice, snakes, you think any of those are going to care what you do or don't want crossing your property?
I have my cameras on. I don't ever see anything like that.
The fact that you don't see it doesn't mean it's not there, does it?
Right. No dogs ever come in here.
Not within range of your camera anyway, right?
Right.
But you can't say that it never happens, correct?
A while back, there was a coyote that came up here.
Did the coyote enter your yard?
No, I went to my neighbor's yard.
Okay. But if the coyote wanted to enter your yard, was there anything you could do to the coyote?
No. I was asleep.
Would you go and complain to animal control that a coyote came in your yard and therefore they should write a ticket to your neighbor?
Since she's leaving food out, yes.
Or did you see the coyote go to her food bowl?
No, there was she.
So again, you're just making inflammatory accusations with no proof.
Right.
Based upon the number of reports that I've gotten copies of, you do this to your neighbor a lot, don't you?
At least 4 or 5 times. No, actually 4 or 5 times, and then plus she was charged with theft and trespass for rescuing her cat on my or stealing her cat from my patio.
How does she steal her cat from your patio?
Because it was an animal trap that I borrowed from the city, and I had control of the animal trap, and it was mine. So she had no right to come over there and take it.
So again, not a question that ever got asked to bring it up.
Okay.
Okay, so unless the other side brings it up, which you would object to because it's not relevant, you got it?
Okay. I'm just saying that there's been multiple occasions that this.
And I'm just saying, if she tries to go that route to paint you any way other than an answer to a question you asked, you object to it and cut her off.
Okay.
Control the fucking witness is the point here. It's the order of the fucking day. Got it?
Yes.
You don't let the witness run off on their fucking own.
Okay. Well, you're the defendant.
No shit.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in all honesty, he's slaughtering you. Listening to the way he's been questioning you,
Yeah.
you're done for. You're gonna be the one ending up with charges after this. Well, not
No.
you, obviously, but as the witness in this kind of a situation.
I wish.
It is.
Okay, so let's continue
All right.
on now.
I believe
Yeah,
I
sorry.
believe I've gotten all I need out of this witness.
Okay.
Okay, so to continue on,
Okay.
are you saying that the cats are Miss Lynch's here?
Are you on redirect now?
No, I'm still on my original. You voidired, in the middle of my
Oh,
questioning.
okay. You're right.
So to continue on, how do you know these cats were Mrs. Lynch's?
She's told me that a couple of the cats were hers.
Okay, so did she point out which ones and which ones weren't?
Yeah. A calico and a black and white one.
Okay, but you testified before you didn't know if she had any cats or not and whether she owned them or not.
Well, I've seen them go in her house.
Well, okay, well, you've seen them go in their house.
I've seen her pick them up and take them in the house.
Okay, so have you ever taken in a stray dog?
No, I don't like animals.
Okay.
But she did take a stray sister.
Yeah.
So anyway, so how do you know, once again, why is it that you're complaining? I mean, how do you know it's contrary to the law here?
Well, because they're trespassing in my yard.
Who's trespassing?
Cats.
Oh, a cat doesn't know what a trespass is, so how could you say they're trespassing on your yard? Is your yard fenced off, or is it
No, it's not.
got chain link or anything like that?
No, it doesn't. But if they come onto my property, that means they're trespassing.
Oh, that's kind of a convoluted thought. So would the mailman be trespassing?
No, he doesn't come onto my property. He goes to the mailboxes. So
Okay. So you went down and you swore out this affidavit, but essentially, what is the basis in law of your complaint?
well, I don't have to determine the law. I'm trying to get the prosecutor to prosecute her.
You're playing the cross-examination part, not the direct examination part, Kev.
No, I know.
You're not talking like a prosecutor.
I know. I'm just playing around with it. But okay. So anyway, so you did sign this complaint this affidavit on the 20th of March. Is that right?
Yes, I did because
Is that your signature right on this form right here?
Yes, it is. That's me.
And you did go. So okay. So what happened after you filled this out?
I gave her a copy of a video where
Gave who a copy of a video?
The field supervisor Laura Hollinger.
Okay, so you gave this to her on the 20th of March or what?
On the 20th of March, I submitted a video and for her to, and then I filled out an affidavit and then I had it notarized in front of her. She notarized it.
So you went down and talked to Hollinger on the 20th and gave her copies of a video, is that right?
Yeah, the video date time sent was March the 10th.
Okay.
If you'll notice, Hollinger is not only the animal control supervisor, she's also a certified notary. That's her stamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was the same person?
What was the medium of the delivery of the video? Was it on a CD-ROM? Was it on a thumb drive?
Yeah.
Interesting. I don't know that. I think it was she had from her phone. It was on her phone.
It was on her phone. How did it go? So what was it originally?
You can access Ring Video through the internet. So you can access it with a web capable phone or any other web capable device.
Right, because it's all cloud based, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now
Then how was the transfer method conducted from the person's phone to the
To
enforce
Hollinger.
to the
With
to
Ring
Hollinger?
with
I
Ring
know.
cameras, you can create a link and send it to someone so that they can access that video
I'm glad
Okay,
or
you
that
thank you.
portion of the video.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's good then. Cool.
That's good to know. I didn't
All
know.
right.
I don't know if that's the exact ways they did it in this scenario, but that is one
No,
method that
it's
comes
the
to
same way they did it with my dog bite case when they were trying to figure out how they were going to charge me with a felony for killing a dog.
Okay, so is there anything else, Ms. Smith, that you'd like to add here that you didn't put in your affidavit here?
Just that I don't like the cats. I don't want them on my property. I don't want them anywhere close to where I live, and I don't want my neighbor feeding them and tracking them. That's exactly all.
Okay. Okay, well, that's about all I have for this witness.
All right, just to be clear on your prior testimony, you don't like your neighbor, correct?
No,
You don't like that she has cats, correct?
no.
You constantly report her to animal control, correct?
Yes.
And the purpose for doing that is to make her stop doing what you don't want her to do, correct?
Yes.
And that is feeding cats.
Well, that's just one of the things. But yeah, feeding cats. Because
Okay.
I don't want the cats around.
So if I can sum up your testimony, then would you agree that you file these complaints for the purpose of harassing your neighbor to make her do what you want to do, even if the complaints you have to make are false?
Well, I don't know. That's not my job to figure that out.
You don't think it's your job to not file false complaints against your neighbors?
I've filed what I filed and said that this I don't like this and this is what she's doing and that's
But what you don't like isn't a crime.
but
You're trying to get someone charged with a crime by filing complaints about things that didn't actually constitute a crime. Isn't that correct?
I don't know. They gave her a citation, so I guess it was a crime.
But we've looked at the citation. We've looked at the criminal complaint. It doesn't allege a crime either. It basically says the same crap your dummy affidavit says. It
Yep,
accuses her of absolutely nothing.
right. Well, just as long as I can keep her in court and tie up her life.
Again, not what your neighbor would actually say.
This is true.
All right, I
It may
believe.
be the
Go ahead.
sorry, I was just gonna say it may be the truth, but it's not how she's gonna answer because that would have charges brought down.
That would incriminate her big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. How are we going to impeach her?
If you do it the way that I've been doing it to you, she'll impeach herself.
Well, here it is. It's like one late night. I was driving down PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, and an old van I had, and it was about maybe 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. And this cop had decided to pull me over. And so I decided that I was going to fuck around with him. And what I did is I pulled over onto the gravel, hit my brakes real hard, hoping that the guy would smash into my back bumper, right?
Mm-hmm.
And well, he smashed on his, and we didn't collide. And he says, "Hey, how come you were you trying to get me to hit you?" I said, "No, there was an animal running across the road." And of course, I would never say yes to that, right? But anyway, so much for that, right? Never incriminate yourself.
Okay, but Eddie, I did give you, so we're not going to use the other false allegations that she's made against me in the past.
Only if she brings it up. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm here.
I guess he's muted himself here.
Oh, yeah, he's muted. Let me see.
He's probably went to the bathroom.
I could have maybe let the dog out.
Oh, he dropped off.
He's still there. I see him.
Oh yeah, he's there. He probably went to the restroom.
or he just let the dog out.
He's been up here for 3.5 hours.
Yeah. But anyway,
You got to get your trial notebook together, Jane. Otherwise, you're gonna bomb.
I can't even. I cannot even find that motion for discovery anywhere. I don't think it's in here anymore. I might go get a copy of it from the court.
Well, you got to get something together. When's your trial coming up?
Oh, I don't have one yet because they're working on the motion to quash. I mean, they're trying to figure out how they're going to overcome it.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
noticed one thing that I had a question about. One of the documents that he had pulled up in the top left of that document, it had said something about the status of the case and it said closed.
Oh,
which I found odd.
Let's see. Was that on the complaint? Or was
I
that?
don't remember which one it was on. It was, shoot,
If it was
one of the more recent
investigative,
ones.
yeah, if it was an investigative report, case detail, they do say status is closed. And I don't know how they get
That
away.
just generally means that they've closed the investigation for an investigation that never happened.
Yep.
Got it.
Yeah, all of them say closed. All those investigative reports say closed. But she's made. There's probably at least about 100 or more police reports since she's lived there. I've been here since 2021. No, 2001. She moved in 2018, and the police have been out here probably 150 times.
That many times?
150. I got probably 100 police reports, and she's made.
Which is exactly why the way I cross-examined you would be so freaking effective to discredit her.
Yeah.
Did you record that at all? Oh yeah, you did. You are recording this. This is good. So you should go over this recording here.
Yeah, I will.
Yep. And also too, I was gonna say, if you're near a dollar store or Dollar General, go in there and see if they have the one I was in a couple weeks ago. I happened to walk down the stationery aisle and they had 1.5 inch and 2 inch binders for $1.25.
Now I have a bunch of binders, empty binders.
Okay. Great. All right.
Well,
I've been in jail for 6 years because of this bitch. So.
Well, why do you even answer the door when the cops call?
I don't answer. Oh, it's not necessary. It's just police reports, and some of them they knock on the door, some of them they come out, some of them that I've gotten tickets for. It's been a bunch of different things. But
why do you even communicate with them?
Because I have no choice. Like when I'm accused of theft, 5 months after the actual thing happened, and then because she goes down there and harasses the prosecutor until they make a charge. Or also too, she's made.
You didn't answer my question. Why do you communicate with the cops?
Because I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know. It's just like
you just answer the door for anybody that knocks on the door or approaches you.
Most of the time, I don't answer, and even like when animal control, the second one, not the last one, I was already out in the street. She caught me in the street.
Why don't you just walk inside your house and close the door?
I was trying to leave. I should have just left in my van.
What do you mean trying to leave? You always got the choice to leave and walk away and close the door.
The van was open. I was ready. I just had to go lock my door, and I was coming. I was leaving. I should have just left. But I mean,
you got to think about how you're handling yourself in life. You just, you're not required to do it unless they arrest you, and you're not under arrest if someone walking up to you and talking to you.
Yeah, I know. Well,
and you're not obligated to help them investigate whatever they want to investigate.
So she came up to me and asked me if I was feeding cats, and I said I feed my cats, and she said, "Well, I'm issuing you a citation on behalf of you."
Why didn't you just shut the fuck up?
I don't know. It's too late for that, but
because Jane and the smart thing don't always meet in the same neighborhood.
And how come you don't ever tell me not to talk to the police?
I'm sorry. I thought I sent you an email today telling you what the fuck you did wrong when you called down to animal control.
I take that back. Okay, I take that back. I'm saying whenever they come beating on your door, like 3 of them are out there, and what am I going to let them? beat
I
my dog.
definitely would not be opening the door if there were 3 cops standing on my porch. Just saying.
Yeah, just let him beat on the door. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then just close your curtains and turn the stereo on or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, it's been so many times, I don't even know what.
Jane,
Most times, probably I was outside already.
So are you telling me either A, you don't remember, or B, I never said, shut up, keep
No,
shutting
you
up,
said
and
that a
shut the
minute
fuck
ago.
up some more?
Yeah,
That's how you talk to the cops.
Yeah, you said that many times.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't answer questions.
Do you think that
Hey, Craig
applies
Script
any less
101.
at your house than it does anywhere else?
No, I don't.
Well, just
All right.
because a cop walks up to you on the street and starts talking, and you don't have to talk to me, you just keep on
But
walking.
what I'm saying, like, okay, she cut my internet cable one day, and then because she cut it, she knew she was in trouble because I called the cops, and it's the same day they came out and installed cable. She cut it with her scissors because she didn't want the cable going across her sidewalk, and she didn't want to wait the 3 days they were going to come back before they buried it. So while I was in the process of calling the cops to say, hey, she cut my cable, I've just had it installed about an hour ago. She called them herself also and made false allegations of assault. And she's done this. There's been at least 3 false allegations of assault, that I'll be out in the yard doing something. And if she does something to me, she calls them too right away and makes some kind of accusation. It's all, it's crazy.
If I was you, I would go down to Walmart and buy yourself a GoPro camera. Every time you,
Yeah, I got camera.
do you have a GoPro wearable camera?
I have a body cam that I don't ever have it available when, it's not charged up or something like that when I need it. But I have
Don't
one.
ever let that happen. Charge it overnight when you're sleeping and
Yeah.
take it with you everywhere you go and keep an extra charger so you can charge it in the car or something when you need to.
All right.
Eddie,
Well, I
doesn't
wish you
this,
the.
hold on a second. It sounds like to me, and I don't know if Eddie suggested it, but it sounds like you got some civil suits ready to go and some criminal stuff if you wanted to.
Yeah. She sued me already and spent $40,000 on an attorney and lost.
I'm talking
Can I-
about you suing her.
I know.
Yeah, I can list off a couple of charges myself, some of them being abuse of process.
Yeah, I thought so too. But so far,
There is no thought.
Intentional infliction of emotional distress, negligent infliction of emotional distress.
you have to go by
irreparable
all the
harm.
Texas causes about acting, and those are not. I can't. Believe me, I've been down there trying to get something, and I even went to the district trying to charge her, trying to get a protective order. And they wouldn't do it because she hadn't threatened my life.
Does this mean we're done with the mock trial?
Yep.
Are we?
Yep.
Yeah, I say so.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I really do, Jane.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right.
Just go
In
back
that
and watch
case,
this video.
Yeah, I'm gonna get this uploaded. It's gonna take a little while, but like I say, give me at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half, so it'll get encoded and then get uploaded, and then y'all can go get the link.
Okay.
Let me give y'all the link so everybody in the thing will have it.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you for a great job. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you for stepping in, Kevin.
Thank you. Yes, thank you.
I would say that system down there in Texas is really messed up.
Oh,
This is
and
the way they do it
judges are
down
the
there.
one that messed it up.
What's that?
And the judges are the ones that messed it up because they're the ones not following the code of criminal procedure, which prevents it from getting messed up, except for certain things that are written into it that itself is unconstitutional. But we'll go that route.
And
all right. In the chat, there is a link to the Google Drive where this video will be.
What you gonna name it?
It'll just have tonight's or today's date, Tao of Law Class.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll say free class videos, so you can watch it on the free class videos.
So it's in that file folder right there, free class videos?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's there.
It will be. It will be after it's
Okay.
encoded and uploaded. It's not in there yet.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
All right. Have a good.
And you're gonna send the motion, Eddie, right, tomorrow morning?
I will get that to you tomorrow. Do not file anything else until I do that, okay?
Okay, I will. I won't.
Eddie and Kevin tonight was pretty awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate y'all's help.
Yeah.
All right. Good
So
night,
look,
everybody.
Jane,
Good
Kevin,
night.
I appreciate the assistance, bud.
What'd you say, Kevin?
Good night.
Kevin?
Jane, in general, don't file anything unless you check it through with Eddie or somebody, you know, that's
Well, I
pretty
won't.
knowledgeable.
Yeah, I'm not at all. Yeah, I know. I'm only doing what he's telling me to do.
Because I was working with some guys down there in Florida, Jim, and he's filing crap and he wouldn't even tell me what he did. So it's really messing up the case, you know. And then it's like when we went to go to appeal, he had about 50 extra documents that made him look like an absolute fool. And then all the stuff that we did after I told him to stop that made him look really super great, but it made him look like a fool because you know he didn't write those documents, right?
Right.
So you really want to watch out what you're filing up there, you know.
Oh, I'm not filing anything that Eddie's not telling me to file now.
Well,
So-
make damn sure
The
you
point
do
is,
that. And you
yes.
check the version numbers. That's the reason I put file names on them the way I do, so that you know which is the latest version of a changed document.
Right.
Did you show him how you do your coding there, Eddie? Why don't you do something like that to show him how you you know your way of coding documents so that you know what they are, you know? You probably want to do that with your class just so everybody can start doing it the same way.
Yeah, that's in the templates of the documents that I give them anyway.
Well, I know, but sometimes people just don't really get it, you know? So you got to baby spoon feed them, you know?
Yeah, well, I didn't know that there was different versions. I just went by the one that I was.
Always check the file name and the date on the file.
Like, for example, he's got this 10.11.00.012 on this file that I've got here with that, right?
Right. That's the one that he wanted me to file, but I had already filed the 001.
Well, we're just talking about the version numbers. It's like I have a bunch of clients and I give them versions.
There's the version number embedded in the document for the type of document it is. Then there's a version number on the file name so you know which update of that particular document we're working on. So there's two codes. There's one that identifies the type of document you have. That's the one that's inside the Word document. And then there's one that is part of the file name. And whichever one has the highest version number and date is the latest version.
Okay.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, I'm signing out of here. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
On here.
Y'all have a good weekend. I'm getting out of here too. Thanks for participating. Everybody who showed up, welcome. Glad to have you. If you thought this was useful, spread the word. Sign up for the class. The more people we have in there, the more diverse we can make this in a non-diverse DIE kind of way or DEI kind of way. But the more knowledge we can put into the pool. Okay.
Exactly. And it's just like, for example, Eddie showed that document and we pointed out one little thing that he needed to put in there to make it work, you know, like like under that 680, whatever, you know, the first paragraph, that's the telltale sign of that
was actually the first thing I pointed out to him when we read the ordinance was that this thing requires you to be the owner.
Yes.
That was the first thing I pointed out. And then I clean forgot to include it in the paperwork.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's just, it takes, you know, after you looked at it a million hours, it's always good to let somebody else, because, you know.
Exactly.
Right.
Because we're not all perfect all the time. And, you know, but anyway, okay, we'll see you guys later. Thanks.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great night and a great weekend. And I will see y'all next week. If you have not renewed your subscription for this month, now's the time to get that done, guys. I appreciate it. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, guys.